If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. Coming up this morning, Brian Geltzeiler is going to join us at 8:30. We will talk NBA playoffs with him and NBA draft. I think the Jazz most likely path forward here is they use the number 2 pick and they take whoever falls to them, Peterson or DeBonsa. My guess is it'll be Peterson, but still early in the process. I reserve the right to change my mind. There ought to be new information flowing in. I think that's what I would do if it were me, and I expect that's what they will do. But what does Brian Geltzeiler think about all of that? Well, we'll ask him. We'll also talk to him about the playoffs. The Knicks are in the final. The Spurs are up 3-2 with Game 6 tonight in San Antonio. I think this game's like a 50-50 Spurs game, but I think Game 7, I'd go Thunder 80-20. Now, they may not even get to Game 7. Maybe that coin flip, maybe they win it and close it out tonight. I can tell you in similar situations last year, they didn't close out the Pacers on the road in Game 6, and they didn't close out Denver on the road in Game 6. They won Game 5 to take the lead in both of them, and then they lost Game 6 and had to win Game 7, which they did on their way to the title. We'll see if they can close it out tonight. I mean, stop playing with your food. Wrap this thing up. That's what I want to scream at him, but, I don't have to go out and play against a 7-4 guy either. And Wemby's coming off a bad game, so we'll see if he can summon a bounce-back game. And then with Geltzeiler being a tri-state guy, and I'm curious if he thinks the Knicks are really that good and they can stand up to whoever they face here in the final, or if they really are a product of an Eastern Conference that's just not good. They've won 11 straight, and they've won them by largely very big margins, really dominated. So we'll talk with Brian Geltzeiler about that coming up. Also, we got Scott Springer joining us. He covers the Cincinnati Bearcats. Feels to me like they are middle of the league. Maybe they'll be worse than that. I can't imagine they're going to be top of the league, but rosters change so much these days. Who knows? We'll talk with him as our spring football tour continues. Coming up later this morning, a little bit of spring football with Barry Tramel, longtime columnist now with the Tulsa paper. Before that, the Tulsa World. Before that, he worked in Oklahoma City, and I am really intrigued by what he had to say about Oklahoma State. Massive turnover there, just a huge unknown. We also talked Thunder in the playoffs with him. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, Mike Folta on the playoffs in the NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes dominate Montreal. They win 4-0. They lead the series 3-1. They have the second best record in the league, the best record in the East. Obviously, Vegas has eliminated the team with the best record, the Avs. Vegas waiting for the winner of this series, and it's hard to believe it'll be Montreal. It looks like the Canadians are in real trouble, and that Carolina is going to get this done. We'll talk with Mike Folta next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Yesterday, we spent a few minutes with Mike Folta, talked with him about the amazement that Vegas was able to sweep Colorado. He's got a couple theories on that, a major problem Colorado had, but also something Vegas did that really turned things around. 19 wins, 4 losses, and a shootout loss. 19-4-1 since Tortorella rolled in and started coaching that team. It's been a remarkable turnaround, and Mike Folta will explain why. Here's Mike with PK&A on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Mike! Sorry to interrupt your summer, but thanks for joining us.
You guys retched me out of a bachelor weekend that went a little too long here on a Memorial Day in the Midwest, but having fun watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, guys. What an unbelievable sequence of events that the Vegas Golden Knights, who beat the Utah Mammoth, would end up sweeping the President's Trophy, winning Colorado Avalanche in 4 games in the conference finals. And now we have at least one team that has their ticket punched to the Stanley Cup finals or final. It's NBA finals, by the way, with an S, Stanley Cup final, for those of you who don't know. I forgot this and was reminded on Twitter. My defense is that Utah has not reached the final yet. So still brushing up on my grammar in that sense. But guys, it's good to hear from you. Golf game is as bad as you'd expect it to be, and we've got playoff hockey going on.
We often hear in other sports, particularly at the college level, when there's such uneven scheduling and so forth, the comparative scores, we beat you by whatever, and then you beat Alabama by whatever. So, man, we could be playing Alabama. We've all heard that game, right? And it ends up with Portland State should be in the Final Four or something crazy like that, right? We've all seen
the transitive property.
Yeah. So how much do you buy what we've seen here in this most recent round versus what the Mammoth were able to do? Because obviously, except for basically that last game, it was anybody's puck game, so to speak. And can we draw? How much can we draw? Like how close the Mammoth are?
I think you can pull it from both sides, because on one side you could say Utah was 2 overtimes away from beating Vegas in 5 games.
Right.
In 5 games, guys. They had a 2-1 series lead, and they lost games 4 and 5 in overtime. If you can find a way to get a bounce in each of those overtimes, you're moving on, not just in 6 or 7 games, in 5 games against a Vegas team that is representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup final. I think the other side of it, though, is this Vegas team seems to be gathering steam as they're moving along. Remember, John Tortorella, the head coach for the Golden Knights, we've talked about this. He took over with 8 games left, right? Yeah. So I think their runway has been longer than maybe a team that has been together with the same head coach for a full 82 games. So I think they've only gotten better and better. Now they had some injuries in the last round and a half. Mark Stone, their captain, missed some time. Getting him back was huge in these conference finals. And Colorado, you had Cale Makar, maybe the best defenseman in the world, was playing at 50% when he was in the lineup. He was clearly battling something. Nathan McKinnon didn't look like himself. I don't believe he had a goal in the 4-game series against Vegas. So I think Vegas has been on the up. They've been ascending as John Tortorella continues to learn the nuances of that room. I don't think you can say he's learning anymore, because they're humming along and they just vanquished the almighty Avalanche. But I think there was a bit of a ramp up for them. So that's one side of it. The other side is, boy, Utah was right there from not just advancing, but maybe making a deep run. And is it crazy to say be where Vegas is? But that's the playoffs, right? Yeah. You can say woulda, coulda, shoulda all the way to the final.
Wait a second. So it's the Stanley Cup final, but it's the playoffs? That's confusing.
It's the Stanley Cup final because hockey wants to make it about the series, not each individual game. So it's not the finals, like the final games. It's the final series.
But why isn't it the playoff versus the playoffs?
Because there are multiple playoff series.
But there are multiple games.
Nice. This is
we
what
got
he
Gary
does,
Bettman
man.
on line 1.
You can't buy into this, Mike. He'll just drag you in circles and wreck the segment.
All I know is if you say Stanley Cup Finals with an S, someone's going to comment on it on Twitter. Found that out the hard way.
So Tortorella, 19 wins, 4 losses, and they had the 1 shootout loss in the regular season. That is spectacular. What? And I don't really think PK does either, buy into these mid-season coaching change. And maybe once a decade it pays off if you track every sport. The Marlins did it in 2003 with Jack McKeon. The Cavs did it with Ty Lue and LeBron in 2016. And now here with Tortorella. Now they haven't won it all yet, but they were in the final. But what is he what has he got that they took a team that was honestly scrambling to make it, win the division, and go 19-4-1.
You got Don Mattingly with the Phillies this year.
Maybe Don Mattingly's going to do it with the Phillies. But again, even that earlier in the year makes more sense to me than 8 games left in the season. Yeah.
Well, a couple things at play. One is that Vegas is known for being a cutthroat organization. They had Conn Smythe winner Jonathan Marchessault, and they didn't re-sign him. They had the playoffs MVP, and they basically let him walk in free agency. They fired Bruce Cassidy, a guy who won a Stanley Cup with them in 2023. They fired him 8 games before the end of the regular season. And in hockey, a lot of times we do see a new coach bump, like a new message kind of lights a spark within the group. That's not uncommon. But the number one thing that you can point to with the coaching change is John Tortorella tapping Carter Hart in net. Yeah. The goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was he joined the team earlier this year. He spent 2 years away from the game, going through a legal process. He was acquitted of those charges. He joins the team, I believe, in December, and was just kind of okay, not great early in the year. But at the end of the season, he caught fire. John Tortorella had Carter Hart as his goaltender in Philadelphia. So that's kind of his guy. Mm-hmm. And Vegas had, I think, the second worst goaltending in the National Hockey League throughout the regular season. They were always an elite defensive team, but they just couldn't get a save. So like we get these analytic reports before every game, every series. And during round 1 against the Golden Knights, we're looking at these analytics saying, oh my gosh, like Vegas is one of the most elite teams at suppressing shots. They're one of the top 1 or 2 teams at keeping the puck out of dangerous areas. They just can't get a stop. They weren't able to get a save all season. Carter Hart comes in and was pretty good to end the regular season. Was, I thought, just okay in the first round series against Utah, but he did have a slight edge over Karel Vejmelka. And then he's found his stride these last 2 series against Anaheim and against Colorado. He's got himself a .924 save percentage in the playoffs so far, which I believe is the best in the postseason right now. So goaltending is probably the number one storyline for the Golden Knights, but it took that new coach to have confidence in Carter Hart to make that goaltending switch. Another interesting thing about the coaching change is that Bruce Cassidy, the coach who was fired, a very successful coach, but it's kind of gotten out that his message maybe can wear on guys. Like, he coaches his team hard. He drives them hard. And so you fire him, you cut him loose, and you bring in John Tortorella, who is also known for the exact same thing. Like, sometimes you go from good cop to bad cop, or from bad cop to good cop. A lot of times you'll see a defensive-minded coach get fired and an offensive-minded coach come in. But usually when there's a coaching replacement, especially midseason, it's a coach of the opposite nature. But Tortorella is cut from the same intensity cloth that Bruce Cassidy was. So it's been interesting to see just a new face, a new voice has made all the difference, even if they're both motivators, or at least in that category of coaches.
Yeah, there's no question he's a salty guy, and I've never heard of a guy who's wins the game, and then has a blackout on the media. What the freak? Yeah, not just the game, but the whole thing. What was that about?
I think it was a categorical fumble by the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you don't know, they win the second round series against Anaheim, and then after the game, a coach and a player are obligated to speak to the media after every single game. Like that is, you do it 82 times in the regular season. Like he knows it's coming, and they skipped it. Vegas didn't bring him out. They didn't. We don't know exactly who is at fault here. They gave a statement. It kind of sounded like it was John Tortorella that didn't go out and speak to the media, but they lost a second round pick, and Torts got fined 100 G's. Yeah. Like, it's all you do is go out there and say, no comment, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, you could have done that and you wouldn't have lost a second round pick.
Right.
So
what's this guy think he is, Bob Knight?
Oh, see, now you're getting me going. Bobby Knight. Oh my gosh. I gotta keep my voice down. I'm back in Indiana. Someone's gonna come out. Some Hoosier fan's gonna come out of the bushes and throw a chair at me. Bobby Knight had nothing on Gene Katie in that comb over, by the way.
But, okay, you got me there.
But you lose a second-round pick for no reason. Now, the thing is, if Vegas goes on to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to be laughing about this, and they might skip some more media availabilities just because they can. Yeah, and it's going to be a late second-round pick. It's not a position in the draft that's particularly fruitful percentage-wise, but still, that's a bargaining chip. Like that second-round pick could get you a third-line center at the trade deadline next year. There's no excuse for it, but Vegas is kind of an organization that they don't really care about the status quo too much.
Okay, but there's people like that in the NFL, and the NFL people have to talk in the offseason. Quarterbacks are talking in the offseason. Coaches are talking. I just picture
Jackson Dart's talking.
Jackson Dart is talking in the offseason at Trump rallies, and I just picture the commissioner and the entire league office just ready to fine everybody and strip draft picks back to the Stone Age. Like, we're going to sell the NFL at all times. We make a ton of money, and we're going to make a bunch more. And it just seems relentless. And these other leagues, whenever I see people kind of stick up their nose, just, we're not going to do any free media. I'm like, why? The NFL does. And they got way more money than you.
I think that's part of it. That's part of it is, like, we clamor for hockey players and coaches to show more personality and not just say, well, we got to get pucks in deep and pucks to the net and things like that. Like, we clamor for this, and there's such an appetite for seeing the human element of these coaches and players and getting to know them more. And so I think that you're absolutely right. DJ is like, there's a league initiative here that's being trampled on when Torts doesn't come out. Also, guys, it was after a win. It was after a series win. Yeah. Like, it's not like you just got boat raced or your season's over and you don't want to talk. It's after a win. Like, just go out and smile. He literally could have said, I'm just here so I don't get fined, and he wouldn't have gotten fined.
The season ended for the Mammoth, but it continued for some of the young guys. You've been able to follow their progress, and how close are we getting to some of these dudes coming to pass with the big club?
Well, how many times – I'll ask you guys, how many times have we said, oh, this is a young Utah team the last 2 years?
Right.
I mean, is that not one of the storylines?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's crazy to think that this Utah team could get even younger, based on who's coming and the young guys who could potentially make the team out of camp. You've got T.J. Gendler right now playing in the Memorial Cup. That's kind of a round robin tournament of all the junior leagues in Canada to see who is the dominant team, the dominant league of the CHL. You had Gabe Smith and Caleb Denoye competing in their respective junior leagues championship series. And Gabe Smith, a former fourth-round pick, guys, he got the playoff MVP in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, even though his team lost the series. That's how good he was. So him and Denoye are teammates, or were teammates in Moncton. Hopefully they'll be teammates in Utah soon. Gabe Smith is a name to watch. If you want to sound smart at the water cooler, bring up Gabe Smith. He's 6'4". They list him at like 225, guys. He could I don't know, run a gap scheme for Coach Scally, or at least like you can move him around the formation as a tight end or something. This guy is enormous, and he scores goals by the boatloads. He's kind of a sleeper. We talked to him the other day, and he's a small town kid from New Brunswick, Canada. It's like just east of Maine. He's a small town kid, kind of got buried in juniors, and then they had a coaching change. This new coach believed in him, and all of a sudden he's producing like a first-round pick. And he's 6'4", and like he talked about how he never had skill before. He was just big, but now he's big and has skill. Now he's big and he's scoring, and he won the playoff MVP in his league. So he's a guy that would be a dark horse to make the team. Probably going to be in the American Hockey League this next year, but it's super exciting to see the growth of some of these guys, because you look at the three major junior leagues in Canada. So that's the WHL, the OHL, and the QMJHL. And the Mammoth had either the top scorer or the top points per game guy in every single one of those leagues.
There are probably, I would say you can probably debate based on the size of their role with the club, but there are probably about a half dozen guys in their 30s in roles for the Mammoth. And you do want to get younger, but you don't want to get too young
Yeah.
What's the balance there? Which of those guys in their 30s you think still remain the immediate future for the team, and how many guys might they be looking to move on from?
Well, you have some unrestricted free agents, so some decisions have to be made, and a lot of the unrestricted or restricted free agents are centers coming up, which is going to be really interesting to see how Bill Armstrong addresses this, because guys like Alex Kerfoot, who's been called the brains of the operation, he's a Swiss Army knife, kills penalties. He's a center. He's a UFA. Kevin Stenlund is your top penalty killer, your top faceoff man. He's a UFA. He was your fourth line center all year. Barrett Hayton can play a number of different roles, very versatile as well. He's a restricted free agent. So some decisions have to be made on those guys. I mean, you still have your core, right? Like, no matter who comes up this next year, which young guys make the team, like the core of the team that's going to push for the playoffs next year is still going to be Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, Lawson Krause, Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Mikhail Sergachev. Like those are your pillars still. Those guys aren't going anywhere. You just signed Schmaltz to the contract extension. Cooley and Guenther are on big contract extensions as well. So those guys aren't going anywhere. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, yes, not just who makes the team out of camp from the young guys, but does Bill make any moves to bring in another one of those established players in the offseason? He did that a little bit in free agency last year. He has a history of doing that with trades, especially during the NHL draft. And the Mammoth have a ton of A, draft capital, and B, future prospects. So you've got this war chest of assets. Can you flip some of those future assets into established players to help you win now?
So you said that you are participating or have participated in some form of bachelor weekend. So I guess congratulations are in order. When's the big date?
It's not my bachelor weekend. No, it's my best friend, who's also a broadcaster, by the way. He's the voice of the North Dakota State Bison, who just jumped up to FBS in football. I believe they're in the Mountain West now.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome program. Guys, I would call into their show under the pseudonym Mike from Minot and just throw in some wild like Nebraska takes into their radio show to stir the pot a little bit. But yes, congrats to Sam in a couple weeks. I had him throw out the first pitch at a Major League Baseball game or a minor league baseball game. And then he did the dizzy bat race. If you can get a bachelor to do the dizzy bat race, it was
that always makes me queasy every time I watch it.
Well, Sam had like one beer and like 3 hours ago, because he didn't want to drink before the dizzy bat race. And so he does the race and he can't stand up. He's so dizzy, spun around for 30 seconds. He can't stand up. Man, the whole crowd thinks he's hammered. Yeah, the whole crowd was booing him because they thought he was trashed. I'm like, no, he's sober as a drum. He's fighting the G's right now.
Man, having a friend call into your radio show, what a cheap trick. I can't believe people do that.
Oh, I know.
All right, Mike. I'll tell you the backstory to that later. All right. Thanks for joining us, talking a little Stanley Cup final. See? I'm going to learn from your mistake. I'm going to make it myself. I'll get beat up on Twitter for another reason. I don't need to get beat up for that reason. I'll find something unique. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your downtime, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, God bless, guys. Tuss up.
There's Mike Folta talking hockey. Barry Tramel joins us next to talk Oklahoma City Thunder basketball and Oklahoma State in the rebuild. College football coming up. Stay with us.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life's sleep.
Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap, all on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Barry Tramel joined us yesterday. Longtime columnist in the state of Oklahoma, first for the paper in Oklahoma City, now for the paper in Tulsa, the Tulsa World. Barry joined us yesterday, so you hear last night references to Game 5 in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is tonight, so that's why the time reference is a little off. But nonetheless, his points about this team and his thoughts on the playoffs stand, and then we'll get to the college football and Oklahoma State's rebuild. Here's Barry Tramel with PK and I.
Barry, good morning.
How's things in Salt Lake?
Good. You're turning into an international star, Barry. PK's coming in telling me I'm hearing Barry Tramel on other shows now.
Yeah, I heard him on the NBA satellite station where he used the example of Victor Wembanyama being able to cover the distance from the Oklahoma City airport to the Brickyard Canal. How visual was that, Mr. Tramel?
Well, yeah, he's something else, man. I guess if I was in Utah, I think he could cover what from the Salt Lake to Provo is about how far his wingspan is. It seems like I don't know how you get a shot.
Go from the Great Salt Lake to Mount Olympus.
Well, there you go. How far is it Salt Lake to Sundance? Is that about 30 miles, probably?
Probably close to 45, 50.
Well, okay.
It's not bad.
Just up to Provo Canyon.
I think for a visual, you'd have it from the Wasatch Mountain to the Oakers, because then you could just have him.
East to west?
See, east to west. You just put him right in the middle of the valley with the wingspan out to each mountain range. See, there you go.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
I do think that it's not death by 1,000 paper cuts, but it is he's getting worn down by playing against a bigger player in Hartenstein and Holmgren, and I think they've given up on trying to pull him all the way out into the corner and have him someone shoot a corner three, but they're pulling him up above the top of the key now, and even he can't cover everything. I thought in Game 5, the Thunder were able to drive to the hoop quite a bit. They were moving him around the floor, and it seemed to be working for him.
Yeah, when you play somebody like that, it's so foreign. There's nobody on earth like him. Their availability with him has been minimal. They've played a handful of games, and you just learn so much in a playoff series. And they've still been good. I mean, the Spurs have done an unbelievable job on Gilgeous-Alexander and really minimized his efficiency. But even Shea is figuring out some angles and stuff, not necessarily to shoot over him, but to get some passes in. He threw Wembanyama came out on him last night, and he threw a bounce pass to Hartenstein, and it was sort of the angle I was right behind on the pass. And when he threw that pass, I thought, he's got no chance of getting that pass past him. But he did, and it's a nice little bounce pass, and Hartenstein had an easy basket. So things are getting a little easier for the Thunder, but that's all relative because San Antonio makes everything so hard on everybody. Listen, I don't know who anybody wants to win this series, but the Spurs are going to win a bunch in the future. So, get ready for a steady diet of springs with the San Antonio Spurs involved in the NBA.
I've been impressed the whole series with Alex Caruso. We remember him coming up with the Lakers, and I think he moved over to Chicago, and they make that trade with Giddey, where he's now with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And to me, he is like that fly in your face that just won't go away, and he keeps landing on your nose or getting near your ear. He's just a pest. How would you describe his game, and are you as impressed? You see them a lot more than we do by how he's been this whole playoff series.
Well, what you see is what you get with Caruso. The difference is the Thunder does an unbelievable job of keeping Miles off the tires in the regular season. they'll sit him all the time. They might not play him a minute in Milwaukee on a Tuesday night, even if the game's tight and all those things, because they just say, we're going to preserve Alex Caruso. The way he plays, well, heck, you saw it last night. He banged his head on the floor and turned his ankle all on the same play.
Yeah.
He gets hurt like that all the time. And they just really try to preserve the guy and then unleash him in the playoffs. He was moderately needed against the Lakers and moderately needed against the Suns. But, they need him. Heck, he might be their most valuable player in this series. And he can guard anybody on the court. He's not a very good career three-point shooter until the playoffs. And now he's got the most 3-pointers in a conference final since Luka in 24. Just out of the blue, that kind of stuff happens. So yeah, I remember when they traded Josh Giddey to get him. The rumbling around the NBA was, are the Bulls crazy? They could have got 2 first-round draft picks in that deal along with Josh Giddey. They'd have demanded it. And when you see Caruso play like this, you realize that's true. Sam Presti knew what he was getting, and he would load it up the truck to bring in an Alex Caruso to this team.
I hold the Thunder in very high regard, but I do think sometimes they play with their food. Guys, just eat. But no, they got to push it around the plate. They have a 20-point lead. It goes down to 8. Yeah. Just blow them out. They were up 3-2 last year against Denver and against Indiana, and they dropped Game 6. Don't let it come down to one game, and anything can happen. Now they won Game 7, so what does it matter? They got the trophy anyway. Do you feel like they're going to play with their food in Game 6 and then beat the Spurs in Game 7?
Well, I don't know that they can. It's awfully tough to beat the Spurs in San Antonio. So they could not play with their food and still lose. But I do think they are wearing down Wembanyama. He's getting tired. There were times last night where I didn't know if he was in the game or not. All of a sudden, watching the game, you think, wait, is Victor out there? And then you sort of look for him, and there he is. And you forgot he was in the game. So they really minimized his impact, which is phenomenal because he's such a high-impact guy everywhere he goes. But I think he's getting tired. Shot a lot of threes, didn't post up a lot. 2 straight games, they've really, or really 3, they've really minimized his offensive rebounds. That's where he kills you. I mean, he plays, Moses Malone basketball sometimes. He literally twice this series has just tossed the ball off the backboard so he can rebound it and dunk it. So when he's getting tired, big advantage OKC. So that's the key to me is, will Victor return? Because the Spurs, they're fun and they're young and they're tenacious. They're not great on offense other than Victor. Castle's not a great shooter. He's a big force, but he's not a great shooter. Vassell and Johnson go up and down. Fox is limited with the injury. So they need Wembanyama to score. Now, his defense is all universe. Best defender in the history of the NBA is probably what he's going to be. But they need him to score, and he was not much of an offensive force last night.
What's going on with Jalen Williams, man? He's just had injuries the whole season.
Yeah, it's been a bad year. Just hamstring, missed the first part of the year with the wrist that bothered him in the NBA Finals, had surgery, finally gets to play, has the hamstring. Now he's tweaked it 3 times. I actually think we might still see him in this series, maybe Game 6. I don't know. There was some talk that they might try to run him last night. They ended up not doing it. Thunder's shorthanded with A.J. Mitchell out, with Jalen Williams out. SGA is about the only ball handler you really want to trust left. So, he's a fighter. He wants to play, I'm sure, and they would love him to play, but they're a very cautious organization. So, I don't know if we'll see him, but it sure would alleviate a lot of stress off SGA. And the thing about Williams is he's this would be the third time he's come back from the hamstring this season, and when he comes back, he hits the ground running. He looks 100%. He's jumping and springing and going all kinds of things. So when he comes back, I think he'll be really good, but it's just whether the Thunder wants to pull the trigger on letting him try it.
What do people in Oklahoma City think of the Knicks, and what do they think of a potential final? Or are they completely obsessed with the Spurs in the Western Conference final, and no one is considering that yet?
Not too much talk about it yet. Some people are fired up about, and I think this would be true of almost any Western Conference team, an NBA Finals against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden would be really cool. The Pacers, that was great. I love Indianapolis. They got one of the best arenas in the history of mankind, all that kind of stuff. But to go play the Knicks, New York's team, right? The favorite team of New Yorkers, any sport, trumping the Yankees, trumping the Giants, the Jets, all that kind of stuff. In Madison Square Garden, home of Willis Reed, Game 7, home of Ali Frazier, Fight 1, all the mystique, all the majesty, all the celebrities, just the electricity around New York. It'd be a phenomenal experience for Oklahoma. This would be the coolest thing on Broadway since Rodgers and Hammerstein. It would be a really cool thing. And that same holds true for San Antonio. If it was Utah, Portland, Sacramento, doesn't matter, whoever. Anybody but the Lakers would probably say, hey, this is really cool. So I think that will be quite the event when it happens. And New York's a buzz about that team. They ought to be. I mean, they're on a historic run. They're very difficult to guard. They've got some defense. So I think it'll be a good competitive finals. It would be a pretty monumental thing for the state of Oklahoma to participate in, I think.
All right, Tramel. I know about Aaron Rodgers, but who's this Hammerstein kid?
Rodgers and Hammerstein. They wrote Oklahoma.
Oh, with Shirley Jones?
Shirley Jones and who's the old boy that played Curly? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, Rodgers and Hammerstein. They did South Pacific, and they did. They're famous. They're like the Andrew Lloyd Webber of the '50s. So, they're heroes. I guess they're both dead.
Well, aren't you cultured?
Yeah, but. Yeah, they wrote. Rodgers and Hammerstein they're big in Oklahoma. I'm serious. The musical Oklahoma was like, it came right on the heels of the Dust Bowl coming out of the Depression, where the Grapes of Wrath gave Oklahoma such a negative connotation, and then here comes these singing and dancing cowboys and stuff, and everybody thought it was great, and it set records on Broadway, and so. Very, very much revered the guys who wrote Oklahoma.
Oh, bigger than Mickey Mantle, Troy Aikman, or Carrie Underwood?
Let's see. Not bigger than Mickey Mantle, bigger than Troy, and bigger than Carrie Underwood. So I would
2 out of 3.
Mickey Mantle 1, Rodgers and Hammerstein 2 on that list.
One football thought for you, because we can't talk to you without talking college football. But I talked to one of the locals here who tracks, there's so much new in football now, right? And they're tracking all these transfers. And they were telling me that the public gets excited. You get a transfer from fill in, the name, Big Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, whoever, right? Or you get a transfer from San Jose State, North Texas, or I don't know, whatever other small school. And he said that what the numbers are telling him now that they track it, that you are more likely to have success with a player moving up a level or two than you are with a transfer from another Power 4 school. And that made me think, and it's still case by case, there are transfers from Power 4 schools who hit it big, and there are kids who move up and they can't quite cut it. But that made me think maybe Oklahoma State can be back faster than you think, because obviously getting a coach from North Texas, you're getting a big infusion of talent from North Texas, starting with the quarterback. The people should take that seriously, and I wondered if you're hearing anything like that in this run-up to Oklahoma State with a new coach in a new era.
Well, I can tell you a few things. One, Eric Morris is a very impressive guy in terms of trying to build a program, the way he goes about things, the fit, all those things seems A+. Mm-hmm. Drew Mestemaker looks like the real deal. He's a 0-star recruit. He didn't even start for his high school team in Austin, and just barely somehow finagled his way to walk on at North Texas. And by the end of the year, he's throwing 400 yards in a bowl game, and then did what he did last year. Now he's at OSU. So he's the real deal. People like Bruce Feldman of The Athletic, they big on Drew Mestemaker and the Cowboys. Here's what I would say, though. Literally, how would anybody know what Oklahoma State's going to do? Literally. They got 85 new players. 85. I mean, this is like leaving St. Joseph, Missouri in 1869 on a wagon train and saying, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. You guys had no idea what you were going to do on that wagon train and what California was going to be like when you got there. It's a total unknown. It's like going into space. 85 new players. 45, I hope I hadn't thrown this at you before. Oklahoma State football personnel chart, the staff, coaches, support personnel, medical, all that. They list 45 players. 45 employees. 3 of them were here last year. These guys can't find they don't know where the Walmart is in Stillwater. And all of a sudden we've got to know whether they can compete with Brigham Young and Utah and Texas Tech and Kansas State. I have no idea. It is, to me, what we're seeing more than a projection, it is a affirmation of what a mess it was in the past. To think, and they're going to be better. I don't think they're going to go 0-9 in the Big 12 again. But to think that Oklahoma State went and got the North Texas coach and 22 players from North Texas, or 21, whatever it was, among their 85 new players, and are going to be better by basically transfusing the North Texas program to Stillwater. What an indictment of what happened in Stillwater these last 2 years.
Yeah, shocking.
Letting go of the rope. Mike Gundy was phenomenal forever, but then he just, I don't know what he was doing. And if you bring in 85 players, guess what? You lost 85 players. So, some were seniors. They probably had 10 or 12, 15, whatever. So let's say the 70 players that they've lost, 3 or 4 of those guys have landed in power conference rosters. So they didn't have any ball players. North Texas had some ball players. So OSU is going to be better. Mestemaker is a potential star. They got wide receivers, and Morris knows what he's doing. So they're going to be better. I'm hard-pressed to believe that they could compete for a Big 12 title, or even really the upper tier of the Big 12. That just doesn't seem likely to me. I really don't know anything about these guys. They had their spring game the very same day as Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma's spring game, so I didn't even get to see them live, which I would love to have seen them. But, we're going to find out quick. They play Oregon week 2. So Oregon will be, they'll be locked and loaded. So, I would tend to put OSU in the second division of the Big 12. I just, I think about an Indiana transformation happens about once a half a century, and we've already had ours. So we'll see, though. We'll see. How's the Cougars and the Utes looking?
Great. They are.
Hey, when people ask me surprise team of 26, who am I picking? I throw out BYU every time. I say they got a culture, they got a bunch of players back, they got their quarterback returning, they've been good.
Yeah.
They don't have 85 new players.
No.
I'm bullish on BYU.
I think you should be. I mean, they've won double-digit games the last 2 years. They've got their quarterback back. They lost Jay Hill, and the cornerbacks coach went with Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. And a lot of people are interested to see what's going to happen with that defense because Jay Hill came in. He's just a local guy all the way. This
guy from Weber, right?
Yes.
From Weber State.
Yeah, he played at Utah and coached at Utah under Whittingham, and then goes to Weber, resurrected Weber. That made them a literal national power, and then goes to BYU. BYU paying 7 figures, which they normally hadn't done, to get an assistant coach there to run the defense. The defense had been awful, and it transformed. Now he's gone. I've heard some people say, "Oh man, that Kalani Sitake's success, he owes a lot to Jay Hill." And there was somebody down there who was willing to let Kalani go to Penn State because he figured, well, I got Jay Hill sitting right here. Turns out it didn't work. It didn't happen that way. Some other people got involved, but that was the line of thinking. So Jay Hill is highly regarded, and Kyle scoops him up and takes him to Michigan. So we'll see how the defense is. But the recruiting has picked up. They're on a high right now, so I have no problem with you being bullish on BYU football.
Yeah, I'm actually more – Big 12 seems more predictable. It's the most unpredictable conference we've had for this decade.
Yeah, last
but
2 years.
It seems more predictable maybe than the other leagues because so many of the traditional quality programs that you figure, well, they're going to be good. Well, Oklahoma State, we know about. Iowa State's totally wiped out. Kansas State got hurt bad in the portal. Now, maybe Colin Klein's rebuilding quickly. I don't know. But Tech, BYU, and I assume the Utes, I think those are pretty dependable. So that's the way I would see the Big 12.
Yeah, you should be fine this year too.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not going to be very good, and Central Florida's just treading water, and West Virginia is still not back, and TCU, who knows? I don't know. But
TCU and ASU,
I throw both there.
You like ASU? Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm
Arizona
quarterback. Worried about the quarterback.
Yeah, I think they got a coach who's pretty good with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All right, Barry.
But it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
We'll leave it right there for now, and I think you need to start
spreading the news.
Start packing your bags, start spreading the news. You're not leaving today.
I'm not leaving today. I think I'll wait till they actually get to 4 wins.
Yeah.
In this series.
Yeah, well, the series, the finals doesn't start till June 3rd, I think.
Well, check out the flights and the hotels. You can at least do that.
I've been doing that, and and I will. Next time I'm on with you guys, I'll come up with another good piece of Oklahoma culture.
Okay. We look forward to that.
I got to tell you, you guys stunned me. And when you now who's Rogers and Hammerstein? Literally in Oklahoma, you don't have to. Nobody asks that question. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein. I know their first names.
Oh, wow.
Oscar Hammerstein.
Well, now we'll do a segment on famous Oscars. So there you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oscar Schmidt, Brazilian sharpshooter. Oscar Mayer.
He died the other day. Did you see that?
He did, yeah.
He died just the other day. Oscar Gamble. With the massive
former
afro.
Padre and Yankee. Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, and of course, Oscar Robertson's the best ever.
Yeah, the Big O.
But Oscar, not Felix Unger and Oscar Madison. That's right, from The Odd Couple.
I got your culture right there.
Yeah. That's right. Jack. Okay, who do you like? Jack Klugman or Walter Matthau?
I'd go with Klugman.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with Klugman's portrayal there. Walter Matthau's an epic. You say Walter Matthau, I think Bad News Bears. There he is in the dugout.
Grumpy old men.
Yeah, grumpy old men.
The Odd Couple is like MASH. The TV show is better than the movie, which is very rarely the way it works.
Yep. Barry, we appreciate it as always. You're the man.
All right, see you guys.
All right, there's Barry Tramel. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. #NBA.
You're taking a little bit of grief from what you said about Jalen Brunson.
You are. I'm not big in that.
I never say, hey.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying.
No, I mean, I speak from experience, and I never, Allen Iverson got MVP, and he lost in the finals, and I think the two best teams are probably in the West. But I'm up for being proven wrong. And that's the other thing is I think Jalen Brunson's a hell of a player. I'm speaking historically on the NBA with what I said. I don't know why that's being brought, why everybody's so stuck on that. I said it 2 years ago. I stand by it. I'm letting you clear the air. There's no air to be cleared. I said what I said. He proves me wrong. I mean, good for him. But I do think the two best teams are in the West.
We know who you like, right?
Oh, well, you know who I'm cheering for.
That's Becky Hammond, who used to be an assistant coach in San Antonio, now a head coach in the WNBA, not backing away from her stance on Jalen Brunson. When your best player is 6'2" or under, can you win a title? There's a couple exceptions out there. Well, actually, Steph Curry's probably a little bigger than 6'2", but Curry and Isaiah Thomas viewed as two little guys who've led teams to titles. She's banking on history. She's not the only one. But
you're right there.
I am right there.
She's speaking your language, man.
Yep.
You love history.
The Knicks waiting. Who will they get? Brunson 4 wins away from the title, being one of the rare little guys to pull it off. Can they do it? First, they have to wait to see who they play. San Antonio hosting Oklahoma City tonight. Thunder up 3-2. They can close it out, or back to Oklahoma City for a Game 7. 6:30 tonight, NBC and Peacock. NBA issued a warning to Victor Wembanyama for skipping post-game media after Game 5. He'll be subject to fines and other punishment if he skips future post-game media sessions. And don't do it again. President Donald Trump says he'll attend an NBA Finals game in Madison Square Garden. He said he'll be in attendance after being invited to a game by Knicks owner James Dolan. So prepare for extra security and get there early. For the two of you from Utah who are going. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
It's just like two guys in a classroom. He sits on one side, I sit on the other side, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So,
is there any awkwardness between you two?
Awkwardness, it's just like the same feeling, when you're in high school and there's another person on the other side of the room. That's just kind of how it is. So I wouldn't say there's any awkwardness.
That's J.J. McCarthy on competing with Kyler Murray to be the Vikings' starting quarterback. Why be awkward? You're not there to be best friends. You're there to win the starting quarterback job. And even if you're the backup, you better be prepared because you're one play away from going in. So why spend time on awkwardness?
Well, it is awkward.
I want what you want. You want what I want.
I mean, Montana and Young had it for years.
Yep.
So, we understand that, but
I think that would be
part of the deal.
It is part of the deal. And I think that would be more awkward because there was more of a feeling like those guys can do it. I guess it could still be awkward even if there's questions about whether either guy can do it.
Well, we're each striving for something.
One
of us is going to get it and the other isn't. So, yeah, I want you to suck and I want me to do well.
Veteran pass rusher Von Miller said he intends to play this season. He's lobbied for the Denver Broncos to bring him back to the franchise he helped lead to the last Super Bowl title. He was MVP in that game. Says he feels healthy and capable of still getting after the quarterback, despite the fact he's now 37 years old. Can't really think of any defensive ends in their mid to late 30s, can you?
Oh, you love history.
Explosiveness? No, right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
I can't name one.
Yeah, me neither.
But I don't know how old they are. I don't track their ages.
Khalil Mack's 35.
I did not know Von Miller was 37, so I'd have to look. I couldn't tell you his age.
Joey Bosa's getting into that range as well.
Joey Bosa's getting in that range, I believe.
I'm being told. Lamar Jackson expressed his love for the Baltimore Ravens and said he envisions himself with the franchise long term. He's working on a new contract. Would you move on from Lamar Jackson?
If I had somebody better, yes.
Yes. Well, they don't have anybody better now.
Then no.
But you could move on and try to pick somebody up in the next draft.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Or two.
Is that news? Isn't that the way
I
it
think
always
if they
is?
dumped him right now and moved on, it would definitely be news, yes.
But they're not going to.
Yeah.
That's not the question. The question is it news that they're going to look for another quarterback in the draft? Yes, of course. Everybody does.
But he's still good enough that he'll win enough games that they won't have. I wouldn't think they wouldn't have great draft
because
position.
they think he's good enough. I think he's good enough. And there'll come a time when he's not good enough.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey touted the conference as the best league by far, despite the recent Big Ten Conference dominance, winning titles in college football 3 years in a row, and also winning in college basketball. And UCLA looks really good in baseball. The SEC's got a bunch of teams hosting. We'll see how that plays out. If you look at the entirety of our league, Sankey says, we are by far the most competitive, the strongest football league. By far. He's just going to keep lobbying.
Well, yeah. It's
got
like,
him 5 teams in last year.
This is what they do.
Yeah.
You made a big deal out of Sarkisian. Oh, their second team can't. It's not what he was saying. He's saying we're better. Come to us. This guy, we're better. Give us more money. Young men, young women, come to our places. It's all politicking. I get it. It's a reason why your mark says we have the second best basketball league in the world. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
But you say that.
But he's not going to stop saying it.
Yeah, all these people are salesmen. Why? Follow the friggin' money.
Commissioners get paid.
It will always lead you to the agenda and the motive.
Commissioners get paid a ton of cash.
The only time money doesn't lead you always is love. Every other time, follow the money, you'll find out the motive and the agenda.
And with love, it's only sometimes.
Yes.
That is hit or miss.
Right.
There are people who don't marry for money. There are people who do marry for money.
Yeah, well, that's more of an emotional thing, love. But other than that, and you can throw in money/power. It's kind of the same thing.
Power may not get you money right away, but it will in the long run.
I mean, it's why these people stay in political positions and they're 89 years old. They can't give up the power.
Falling asleep in their soup. Yeah. New bipartisan bill introduced in the U.S. Senate in an effort to put guardrails in place and stabilize college sports. Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell proposed the Protect College Sports Act, which would provide the NCAA with antitrust exemption to enforce several rules that have been challenged in court in recent years, including limiting athletes to transferring one time, limiting them to 5 years of eligibility, prohibiting former pro athletes from playing in college, prohibiting schools from poaching a coach from another school during their sports season. Goes on and on. It also has a provision to give conferences an option to negotiate future TV deals as one large group and share the money more evenly, as long as 75% of the schools agree to join. But the SEC and Big Ten are making the most money. Can stop that from happening. They don't join, they don't get to 75%. So,
well, actually, that's wrong because currently it would be 75% without them. They're exempted from that provision as it's written right now.
You two debate this. I'm out.
A lot of this comes from Cody down there at Texas Tech. Apparently, he's been hip deep with them helping draft this. Now it's got to negotiate committees and politics and back and forth and be amended and changed. So we'll see. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Last night, Murakami hits one deep. Left field, number 20. 14-1.
Here comes the 3-2. Swung on and destroyed. Left center field. It is going to go. Sail away. Julio. 3-run home run. It's all Mariners now. 9-0 over the A's. An exclamation point.
Here's a 1-1 from Sugano. Ohtani hammers it to dead center. This ball heading back. It is gone. A home run. A leadoff home run, the 28th of his career. Ohtani makes it 1-0. Shohei Ohtani knows how to bring the fans to their feet.
Shohei Ohtani with the home run there. Dodgers added another in the first. They're up 2-0. They go on to win 4-1. Shohei pitching 1 run, no hits. He did walk 4 over 6 innings. He continues to amaze. The ERA still below 1. It's 0.82 right now. Is there anything he can't do, PK? It's just he can't do it all.
I have no idea about his cooking skills.
Can't do it all at once. His cooking skills.
You asked me if there's anything he couldn't do.
Nice. You heard the White Sox blowing out the Twins in there. 15-2, the final score in that one. Tons of blowouts. Orioles 11-2 over the Rays. Red Sox taking it to the Braves 8-0. Braves having a really good year, but not today. Or not yesterday.
You got the baseball page open, huh?
I do. The Padres. Do the Padres remind you of the Cleveland Cavaliers? Going to have a good season, but against the best. Phillies went in there, beat them 3-0, sweep them.
Well, I think the story is Christopher Sanchez broke a 115-year-old record for the Phillies with the scoreless streak.
44.2 innings.
Grover Cleveland Alexander or something. Or
Yep.
Alexander Cleveland. I always get those guys confused.
Grover Cleveland Alexander. Hall of Famer.
Nikhil Grover Alexander. Grover Nikhil Anderson. I don't know.
Closing in on Hershiser, but probably 2 or 3 starts away still. Hershiser has the Major League record. Major League Baseball Players Association made their first formal proposal in collective bargaining talks with Major League Baseball. This gets underway. It's one more box that has to be checked before they expand, PK. Share more local TV revenue than the current CBA stipulates. And a competitive integrity tax, so for low-spending teams. So they're going to have to spend money or they're going to have to write a check. And double the minimum salary. Right now, everybody in the majors, the minimum $785,000. They take it to $1.5 million.
It's all window dressing.
Yep. Get that done, and then it's one more box on the way to Major League Baseball adding teams 31 and 32.
I don't know if they're going to get it done anytime soon. I mean, it's all about the salary
cap.
You can have
all these other
Tuesdays
issues
off or whatever you want,
right?
Until you get to that point,
and then we'll see how damaged the 27 season gets. Bees lose to Round Rock 5-4. Game 3 in the series tonight. Tony Park's on the call at 5:30 on 1280 The Zone. DJ and PK.
#golf.
PGA Tour at the Colonial Country Club, Fort Worth, Texas. It's the Charles Schwab Challenge. Local guys in the field, Tony Finau, Zach Blair, Patrick Fishburne. I don't know how deep a dive you've taken into this. Is this one of the events that we're seeing for the last time before they reorganize the tour?
Well, I think they put the schedule out. You can go look at it. And I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already been releasing that. I looked at it.
I thought there was still a little room for negotiation on this.
Yeah, it's way below my interest.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
2-on-1 for Carolina. Blake and Stankoven coming in. Blake, Stankoven, 3-0 Carolina. It's a huge goal. Sent across Logan Stankoven. There is his 8th of the postseason. And the Hurricanes have ripped the top off of this game.
Carolina scoring 3 times in less than 3 minutes late in the first period. They had an empty netter late. They shut out Montreal 4-0. They're up 3-1 in the Eastern Final. They are on the cusp of meeting Vegas in the Stanley Cup Final. Hard to believe they won't pull it off at this point. It was hard for Montreal to even get shots on goal. Pretty dominant there. What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up this morning, Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host, NBAtv contributor, joins us at 8:30. Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer, will join us at 9 o'clock as our spring football tour continues. We will get to the question of the day next. College football fans, gather round. Anonymous quotes are floating around. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LaCombe.
Look, I remember the early days of Shaq. If you're kids these days, you just only know Shaq from inside the NBA, or maybe the later years when he was hopping team to team and was a little out of shape and bigger than he needed to be. You go back and you watch those early 1, 2, 3 years when he was in Orlando, when he was svelte, and that dude, you watched him, you're like, he's changing the game. Shaq changed the game.
With sheer force, and you're exactly right, there was a revolution when Shaq came, no question.
And what we're seeing now is Wemby doing that. Wemby is changing the game of basketball. Not that you can replicate it, because you can't. You can't replicate Wemby, or we'd all be trying to go to the DNA, the dinosaur DNA with the old dude on the island and trying to recreate. You can't. That dude is one of one.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Mississippi is breaking new ground for business at a historic pace. Amazon, XAI, Toyota, Milwaukee Tool, and GE Aerospace have all tapped into our deep talent pool, prime geographic location, and welcoming communities. This is bigger than megasites. Mississippi offers a thriving business ecosystem with affordability, greater collaboration with energy partners, and record-breaking speed to market. Looking to expand? Break new ground at mississippi.org.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
DJ and PK, our question of the morning. There's an anonymous Big 12 coach out there who says BYU is the best football team in the conference with the best coaches and is the most physical team. What is your assessment of this? Case dismisses the whole thing. You can say what you want. In sports, you must prove it.
So that would be case dismissed?
Case dismissed. That's well done. He spells it C-A-Y-C-E, so that didn't even occur to me. Very nice. Well played. Boom, boom. There were a bunch of these that I just wasn't on the same page with these people. It's weird. Lately, the takes have been like exactly what I was thinking, and this one not even close. Vernon, way to go, Coach Jay Hill. Didn't even occur to me. Are you saying it's a good quote from Jay Hill, or he made them the most physical team?
I don't think that Jay Hill would be involved in this. I think that
agree.
It's within the conference.
Yeah, he's not an anonymous Big 12 coach anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that's what I thought at first. Like, why? And then I thought, well, maybe he's congratulating BYU for making him more physical.
Well, Jay Hill improved the defense. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, but a big part of being physical is, O-line, run the ball, all that kind of stuff.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
But another big part is defensively.
True, but
complimentary football, buddy boy.
And that's why I'd go right to Kalani. That's one of Kalani's favorite quotes. He loves himself some complimentary football.
I love uncomplimentary football.
I think that's just the way a head coach. Everybody's on notice here. But you say it positively. Complimentary football.
I think that Jay Hill played a significant factor in BYU being really good, and it's one of the reasons Kyle quickly gobbled him up. Duh. Right? I mean, we all like the guy, know the guy, and that's nice and all, but you got to have results, and he had results.
Without question.
Yeah.
They were glorious.
Right.
Josh says, hey, let's hear from the angry Ute fans first. Josh does not want any of this.
Okay, well, if you can figure out if they are, then yeah.
Well, here's Tyler. So it's a BYU coach. ...
No, it's not.
Ha ha.
No, the way these things go is they get an anonymous coach to comment on each team. I don't believe it's the same anonymous coach. It's different coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, when I saw that, Jay Drew had a piece in the Deseret News on it.
He did.
And that's where I saw it, that it would be, and this time of year, you're always looking for stuff to write so you can get the editors off your back. Because there's not
They need content. Yeah. All right, here's your content.
More than ever.
Right, yeah.
Yep. Literally more than ever because you're relying on internet stuff, and so they got to come to you, and that's something you can sell as opposed to the old days. You had the subscriptions, and if you put crap on a particular Tuesday, well, it didn't matter.
You saw subscriptions, and now it matters.
Right.
And you could fill the paper occasionally with some big piece got off the wire or something. And now,
do that every day.
Must have BYU, Utah State, Jazz, Mammoth content every day. And everyone
Basically, yes.
Yeah, everyone of those beat writers is hearing it.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then actually they do a really good job of generating off-season content. All of them do.
Jay spent some of the time in that explaining that he writes for Athlon.
But he doesn't do that.
But he doesn't get the anonymous quotes from the other team. So he made a point of saying,
your team.
Yeah.
I used to do it.
I don't know who it is. Somebody else did that part of it.
My guess would be it'd be somebody from Texas Tech to put the heat on the Cougars.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
And
now you're thinking exactly what I'm thinking, but nobody else thought that.
Well, they just don't have your sophisticated shrewdness.
No, they do too.
That has just been molded through years of difficulty and hard times.
You don't need to do that.
I do for the listener. You already know it. Of course I don't need it to do it for you. But for the listener to understand where you're coming from, I absolutely have to provide context. You're the king of providing context. The one time I want to freaking provide context, you don't want to hear it.
Steven is the anonymous coach on BYU staff. And that got a bunch of thumbs up and a bunch of laughs.
No.
We think it's on the Texas Tech staff.
Because they were saying they. He would say we.
Yep.
That would be a dead giveaway. We have the best team.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
I still think it's Texas Tech. They have the most money. And as I said in the prior segment, follow the money. It will lead you to so many answers. And Tech has it and every year until things change or if and when they change, they're going to have the best transfer class because the kids are going to go for the money. I mean, duh. Randy Bennett, he did a press conference a few weeks back and moved from St. Mary's to ASU.
Basketball
and they had a promising center, a foreign guy.
Yeah.
And they asked him about it last year. Hurley recruited him. And they asked him, he said, well, his asking price was too high. And so he went to Gonzaga. And if you wonder why Gonzaga's been good all these years.
There you go. Why do they always have the best big guys?
Yeah. And, it was before all this stuff. But, I mean, that's what people had told me for years. And so he went there to get more money. Okay, I'm all for it. They don't have as much money. And they don't have their most money because at the press conference, the athletic director said, we're not going to be NIL-based. Which is saying we don't have enough money. If you had enough money, we're going to be
NIL based.
Yeah.
How's Texas?
They wouldn't quite say it that way because that's too seedy. You'd couch it differently. But essentially, if you have the most money, you're most likely going to get the best talent. And Texas Tech, now since the transfer portal combined with the NIL, they have had the highest ranked transfer class, and they're going to have it again this year. And so, Sorsby aside, they're going to be the favorite.
And they're going to be physically very tough to handle.
Yeah.
As we saw when they played Utah and BYU twice.
That's why it was such a big deal when they actually lost, when the Devils beat them.
Shocking. How'd that happen?
Well, because they had a quarterback who was good, and an NFL receiver, and a running back who ran for over 1,000 yards, and the receiver went to the NFL, the quarterback went to LSU, and the running back went to Texas.
There you go.
Because they don't have enough money.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
Cameron says it's not a weird take. BYU's been the most consistent team in the Big 12 the past couple of seasons and seem to have an identity where they are physical on both offense and defense. Yeah, I can see where Cameron's going with that. While I wouldn't agree that they are the most physical team because I saw Texas Tech be more physical 3 times against our 2 local schools here, It's also Utah and BYU aren't that far away. So if somebody comes out and says BYU is now the most physical team,
yeah, but
it's not weird.
The best
I wouldn't
team.
say it.
The most physical.
Oh,
you don't
no.
get a trophy for that.
No, but coaches, they get all warm and fuzzy over there. Oh, we're physical.
Well, I mean, football is a physical game.
Sure.
So everybody is.
Your O-line needs to push their D-line around and vice versa.
I want guys who can make plays in their respective positions, and that make plays in the offense is to move the line, running backs to get the ball downfield through their legs, blah, blah, blah. We all know what the story is there. So the most physical, great. As long as it leads to wins, I'm all for it.
John says this take is spot on. Period. End of story.
I don't think they're the best team. I don't see how you can go. Now, they could end up being the best team, but here in May, I don't think you can conclusively say they are the best team.
Would you feel comfortable saying that about anyone, even Texas Tech?
Yes. Until proven otherwise. Which
could
everything that you say months before is until proven otherwise.
Especially, I didn't know if you were going to, I'm defaulting to Texas Tech, or if you're going to, we largely know who the contenders are, but with the transfer portal and injuries, you got 2 wild cards. You can't guarantee anything.
I don't think the transfer portal is that big of a wild card anymore.
The teams is a wild card for. It's more about getting from the bottom to the middle or the middle to the top. Yeah. It's not about winning it.
Like when David Bailey went, he wasn't a wild card.
He was really good.
And he was a high first-round pick. So you look at these guys, and now, when I say used to be, I'm talking like 2 years ago.
I was going to say 3 or 4, but yeah.
Guys who were moving up. How will they do? Well, now we've had a great track record of guys who are really good at North Dakota, and then they move up. They had a defensive back, a safety, who moved up and was really good. So if you're really good at that level, it's not always, obviously, but there's a track record. If you're really good, and the scouting now is so complete and comprehensive that I default to, Texas Tech thinks this kid from North Dakota is really good because they're paying him a good amount of money. And so they've studied him, they've watched tape on him, blah, blah, blah. And so if those people who are eyeball deep in it, and some guys, literally that's their job every day, and they go to McGuire and go to the team's general manager, this player X is worth this amount. Yep. I have a level of confidence in those guys that they know what they're doing because there's been a number of kids who've moved up. Not everybody that Texas Tech brought in last year on that defense was from a high Power 4 team. There were several guys, the Romello, the guys are coming from lower levels, but they're really good. And they've been scouted, and they've proven it at the collegiate level, which even Big Sky, if they ever played Corner Canyon, would kick the crap out of them, right? We all agree on that, right? And so I have that confidence that these guys are good. So I think the transfer class, when it's said and done, I think you can get a good read on, okay, who are they and what are they going to bring to the table? It's not necessarily a big mystery anymore.
I get why you would say that at Texas Tech and at BYU, where coaching staffs have been in place for a while. But can you say that at Oklahoma State and West Virginia, for instance, just because it's 2 teams in this league and they have first and second year coaches?
85 new guys, as Barry Tramel was saying, then no. That's too many. Rich Rod had that very thing last year.
Is it more that? But see, that's the thing. Like Dion the first year had a gazillion. It didn't work the first year. West Virginia had a gazillion the first year. It didn't work the first year. Now we'll see how Oklahoma State does the first year. I'm just wondering what kind of trends we should be looking for that tip you off. Hey, I can look at Texas Tech and BYU because those coaching staffs have been in place for a while and they've won for a while. And so when they say transfer classes are good, I believe them.
I look at the individuals. When Cade Uvalale comes in from Cal, I don't need to say that's a mystery. That's not a mystery. He's going to come in and he's going to play really well.
But don't trust the first-year coaches.
Well, they're under if the first-year coach is replacing someone who got fired, right. It's whether it's transfer portal or not. The first-year coach replacing somebody who got fired is always going to be a rebuilding year. It's just going to be with different guys rather than the same guys. Now, I know people are screaming at their radio right now, well, what about Urban Meyer from Ron McBride? Okay, yeah.
But that goes back to your point about, hey, we're having to adjust our expectations. All the rules changed 2-3 years ago with NIL and transfer. I mean, certainly if you get back before the 20s, it was completely different. But even in the early 2021, 22, it was different than it is now.
I expect all first-year coaches replacing somebody who got fired to have a little bit of a struggle. If you're replacing someone who retired or took another job,
you got a chance.
Yeah, like Morgan Scalley. I'm expecting Utah to do very well. Now, that's an unusual situation. He was, in a sense, fired without being fired. You can have your job, but you got no power.
Pushed out.
Yeah. I called up Kyle. I said, yeah, Kyle, I know exactly how you feel. I am down with you completely, man. We've been brothers from different mothers for decades.
And here we go again.
Yeah. You got your gig, but you got no power. Welcome to my world, K-Dub.
K-Dub.
That's what I have him in my phone.
K-Dub.
Yeah. And so, but that was an unusual situation, but obviously he left the program in a good spot. And so we're expecting the Utes. I'm expecting them. I think all three of us are expecting the Utes to be strong contenders in 2026. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I mean, I could get curtailed by injuries, as everything happens that way when, unfortunately, it occurs. But all things being equal right now, at the end of May, I'm expecting them to contend. And if they're playing in the Cowboys Stadium on that first Friday in December, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I'm going to say, okay,
yeah.
I see it. So the transfer portal is not as big a mystery. But in your cases of those first-year coaches, as you appropriately point out, yes. Because there's so much newness. It's overwhelming new. And that's what's been good about BYU. And they've spoken about that. That year that they went 5-7, they've said they brought in too many guys. And so, all right, if you haven't done anything and then you do it, it's a learning experience. And I appreciate Aaron Roderick saying that, Kalani saying that. Be honest.
Yep.
And they were. And then the next couple years,
course
it was about augmenting the roster,
right.
Not overhauling it. And the results have been pretty doggone good.
Yeah, much better.
Yes. And I think because they also every year have either kids coming home from missions, obviously, or they've been home for X amount of months, and it's their second season, and so now they're ready to contribute at the level we anticipated when we recruited them 3 years ago. And so they don't necessarily need a whole lot of transfers because they're having probably, I haven't crunched the numbers, but they're probably having more new guys or more new guys who are ready to play after they shake off that mission rust than most programs. So they don't need to bring in an overwhelming amount. Just bring in where you have a particular need, and that's where they've kicked butt, where they've had a particular need. I mean, obviously, I just spoke of the linebacker, but clearly Bachmeier.
Obvious need there. That's even a better example than linebacker. Like they bring in Kelly.
The position is more important.
They bring in Kelly really good, but they also had a lot of linebackers. Who's to say if they hadn't brought him in, would they've had bad linebacking play?
Probably not, but he was really good.
He was really good.
And he was fun to watch.
Right.
And now he got drafted.
To the NFL. Away you go.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is that.
I guess you could still say that's a need. You always need a guy if he's going to be drafted.
He's going to be NFL guy.
If he's going to be drafted by the NFL, you need him.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is that he moves from Weber. We've had a number, and the list is you'd have to. It's probably 150 deep of kids who move up, and they were really good at this level. And it's no longer actually, that big of a jump.
No, it's actually because they're tracking it now. Back to your point about this is all brand new and they've just got to learn. They've tracked it across college coaches are tracking across all of college football, and you're more likely to get a good player getting somebody who's moving up from the Big Sky or the Mountain West to the Big 12 than you are if you get someone from another Power 4 league. Now, everybody sitting out there can cite examples of guys who busted moving up or guys who really excelled when they switched, but they're tracking the entire numbers and they're seeing you're more likely to get someone who's moving up. And I haven't had a conversation yet about have you tracked it by position? I bet they have.
I'm sure
and
they
I
have.
bet it's different for different positions, but still the trend is go raid the Big Sky in the Mountain West. Don't go raid the ACC and the SEC.
If the guy is good and he's played at a high level, at his level, it's no longer shocking. Scattaboo is a great example. Be as good an example as you're going to find.
Yeah. Right.
And maybe that's the exceptional example. And
you
maybe
can be a good college player without being a high draft pick.
Right. But they obviously struck gold on that situation, right? And good for them. I'm not sure they had any idea
that it was that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They thought they had something or they wouldn't have given him a roster spot, but they didn't know they had that.
Right. And it turned out to be an overwhelming success.
Yeah. But this is starting to spread across sports because when you see like San Diego State had a good but not great season, they had a great defense, they didn't have a great offense, and the defense got picked over big time. The defense is scattered to the 4 wins, and most of them follow the money, have gone to a Power 4 school with way more money. So
yeah, and it's also like what Andy Toulson said with his son. You know, you were in a good situation at UVU.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wants to test himself against better competition because everyone's striving to get to the professional level.
Yep.
And so if you then do it in the Big 12 versus UVU, well, it's a better level of competition. Right. And whether it's the NBA or in
case of basketball somewhere in Europe.
Yeah,
but either way,
is a little different because you've got numerous opportunities overseas, but you want to test yourself, and scouts are watching you. So you're basically all these things are now job auditions.
Yep, they're jobs early on. We'll see if universities finally declare them employees,
and
but
they
are
that's
employees.
The way it should be.
What? They should be employees.
No.
Oh.
Well, that's another topic.
Oh, job auditions.
Yeah, auditions. Yeah. And then you are presenting yourself for future employment. And it used to be, okay, we don't want to totally blow off the academics. I get that. But that's up to the individual. If he or she wants to be academically oriented and get that degree, great. We all encourage it. But if you believe your future is at the pro level, then do whatever you can do to get there. And that if that requires going from a Weber State level to a Texas Tech level, then so be it. How would we possibly deny someone for having an advancement career-wise? Because that's essentially what you're doing. And there's a lot of kids, let's face it, particularly with the male gender, who are going to college with the intent of doing well there and then moving on to the professional level.
You can ask any coach, and they'll tell you when they're getting recruited, everybody thinks they're going to the NFL. And obviously they're not, but that's what they're thinking anyway.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that we make a sham of academics. Hopefully we don't. But for some, they're not really interested in that. I didn't go to Ohio State to play school.
Don't get quotes that have much more honesty than that.
It sounds awful.
But it's honest. It's 100% honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a quarterback. Every quarterback thinks they're going to the NFL. You went to Ohio State thinking you're going to the NFL.
And this is
there you go.
The system requires you to do that. You can't go.
You can't go to the NFL at 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to wait 3 years.
Right.
So what are you going to do?
So am I going to blame Cardale Jones for that?
Somebody set up a system, and he had no other options.
Yeah.
That was the way it had to go.
Yeah, there's not – in basketball, you can't go to the G League or go overseas or whatever like you can in that sport.
Not only will I not blame him, I appreciate the fact he didn't lie to me and treat me like I'm stupid.
But it still sounds seedy.
I get why people say that. I get it.
And the cardigan sweater-wearing professors get mad at that.
They do. They do. But nonetheless, it's a system. Look at him.
Go smoke your pipe.
He's a really good quarterback. Just look at him. He's good.
Yeah.
I watch the games. Of course he wants to go to the NFL.
I wouldn't put BYU the slam dunk best team, but they're certainly in the mix. And really, that's all you want.
Is the preseason poll still gone? They had it year 1. They didn't have it year 2. I assume year 3 they're not going to have it.
It's been done away with for the foreseeable future.
Which is dumb.
I know. Something to talk about.
It's a stupid poll.
If they did it, I assume it would be Tech 1, BYU 2 again.
Well,
I'd have no problem with that.
That's what I would expect, waiting for them to put it out.
Last year down there in Frisco, Barry Tramel decided if they're not going to do it, I'm going to do it myself. So he actually had me vote on it. I'm assuming he'll do that again.
Yeah, it's just that it's not the official one.
I get it.
But we all have an idea. And so what? Yeah. If your poll is ridiculous when we get to December, who cares?
No, it's just a fun talking point.
Right.
It's something to talk about.
Right.
And it's going to be shaped by injuries and kids blowing up that nobody had any idea, including the coach. There's always somebody, a scatteraboo type, I didn't know. You always say that. And sometimes the kid doesn't even do it in September. Sometimes kids come on in October. There's an injury, they get a chance, and all of a sudden, wow, that kid's a revelation. We see that story all the time.
Yeah, I told you a few days ago about the Khalil Tate.
Mm-hmm.
When he won like Pac-12 Player of the Week 4 weeks in a row. And he wasn't even starting in September.
There it is.
Yeah.
Revelation.
Right. And they had injuries, put him in there, and then he blows up.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, top of the hour, Ute fans gather around the radio. The Arkansas AD is fired off. We'll get to that at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
He covers the NHL for Sportsnet. He is Luke Fox.
Now Austin Matthews is obviously very much in the news, and you've seen the Mammoth's name tied pretty closely to Matthews if he were to hit the trademark.
Utah's interest in Austin Matthews is 100% accurate. They would have to join a few other teams that would probably be raising their hand. If he does say, hey, I want out, for sure the Mammoth would be all over that. The Sharks would be over that. The Kings. There would be a number of teams that would want a player like him because they just don't become available very often, especially when they're in their prime. A couple years back, he scored 69 goals, threatened 70, which hasn't been done since the 90s. So a player like that may or may not become available, absolutely, the Mammoth are all over that. They want a superstar.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We were just talking about the anonymous Big 12 coach says BYU is the best team in the conference with the best coaches and the most physical team. We both assumed that came from somebody at Texas Tech. And we both assumed that if they were doing a poll, which they almost certainly are not, the Tech would be 1 and BYU would be 2. Would the next group be Utah, Houston, and ASU in some order, or am I leaving somebody out? Maybe TCU?
Oh, I wouldn't put ASU that high.
Arizona?
I mean, they returned 2 starters.
Arizona and TCU then?
Yeah. That's not to say they can't do it.
Do you have a clear 3? A clear number 3? Because I think Tech and BYU are 1 and 2 really clearly. And some people will say that, yes, and other people would say, well, Kyle's gone and Morgan's in charge, so they'll be good, but they won't be that good.
I look at the players. They're not rebuilding.
But they lost high-end difference makers.
Who did?
At some key positions.
Texas Tech did.
True story.
BYU lost Jack Kelly.
They have the most money to reload.
I think they've got enough coming back. I mean, they did. It's not every year you're having 2 first-round picks on your offensive line.
Right.
I understand that completely. I get it. But Dampier, at his best, can move an offense. Now, he's got to get better. You know, you go look at the teams that they played that had big-time winning records. He had crappy games through the air. That's why, to me, don't tell me that this is the best collection of receivers. I'm not going to be Charlie Brown here, and you're not going to be Lucy.
You'll
I've been
have to-
hearing this for 15 years.
You'll have to see it to believe it. The last time it was true was 2008. They haven't had a good collection of receivers since the Sugar Bowl team.
And especially with a running quarterback, a dynamic quarterback, play to his strengths, and the backup, and can run like the wind. So go, and your top running back is back. If that doesn't
Kind of screams running game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially because of all the things they have to replace, I actually have the most confidence in the O-line because of what we saw in the bowl game.
There's no question.
They had to. They were already. The next season was already starting. The
change had occurred.
Yes.
First-round picks don't need to be playing in the Vegas Bowl.
Absolutely, 100% not.
Not when you're having contact literally every play.
Take away their helmets. That's just not.
Yeah.
Don't go out there, guys.
Right. And so I agree with you. They obviously showed well.
I have more questions about the D-line. John Henry Daly was a sack machine. Where is the Sac Lake City pass rush coming from?
Would you rather have a sack machine or a love machine?
I'll take the fifth, Your Honor. I guess I answered that.
So, yeah, they're going to have answers. Why I would put them in the second tier, and we'll see how they develop. And I get it. It's not just Morgan; it's a new offense,
new OC,
yes,
new O-line,
and that's a lot to ask for. If Jason Beck was coming back, I'd have more confidence. And that's not to say that McGivern stinks. It's just a new situation where the damp year Jason Beck situation would be going into his third year of high production. But it's not to be. And I think Jason Beck's really good.
That's why he's getting the big money in Michigan. You're not alone.
Right. And I see him someday being a head coach somewhere.
That's part of him going to Michigan also.
Right.
And it's part of Jay Hill going to Michigan. They know the spotlight gets a lot brighter, but if they look really good, people are going to come calling
it's
quickly.
a move they had to make.
Sure, yeah. And that's not a staff Kyle is likely to have together for 4 or 5 years. I think these guys are going to excel, and I think
know that he's
people
going to be there for 4 or 5 years either.
That's also possible. But I just
it's college football, sports. Who knows? In 5 years,
Michigan's got to be good right now. And in 5 years, who knows what college football is going to look like?
Yeah.
Michigan needs to be good now, and we'll see if these guys are there 1, 2, or 3 years.
But if you wanted to go Houston third, I'm completely comfortable with that. If you even wanted to go Arizona, if you wanted to put the Utes fifth, I'm okay with that.
Utah, Houston, Arizona, TCU. That's the next tier. I have the whole problem with going 3, 4, 5, 6 is by the time you get down to 6, it feels like you're dissing teams. But for instance, last year there were 4, 5, and 6 were all tied at 6 and 3. So what are we splitting hairs over?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think that the strength of this conference is
the top third.
But where I was going is that you can get down to 6th or 7th, and they're pretty decent teams. And particularly on any given Saturday. And you are kind of just shuffling papers at that point. I think there's a clear-cut 2, and then
there's a group.
There's a group, and then so there are tiers. And teams that are in tiers, which is IERS, I have no problem of them moving up.
Right. Well, you're talking about a group of teams that's 6 and 3, and there's a lot of one-possession games out there, so you're 1 or 2 possessions away from being top 3 or top 2. I mean, Utah was 3 at 7 and 2. Houston, Arizona State can all play woulda, coulda, shoulda. They were 6 and 3. They could have moved up a game. Win one game, move up a spot.
Yeah, but that didn't really get you anything.
No, it really doesn't. It's top 2.
Yeah, did you finish top 2 or not?
You don't really get anything for 1. It's just be top 2. That's the real prize. The difference between 1 and 2, negligible.
Well,
maybe
so far you haven't in this conference.
Maybe
you have to have won the game, the Big 12 title game. I wonder if Tech had lost that game, would they have gotten in? You look at it, who did they beat?
I want to say yes, but I got to lean towards no because it just felt like the Big 12 was only getting one.
That's what I'm saying.
BYU would have swapped out, and Tech, probably when you get to the finish line, Tech would have been like the first or second team out. They might have gotten more talk and more run than BYU got because BYU didn't get any. But in the end, would they have been in? No.
Right.
I mean, they would have been fighting Miami, Notre Dame, and Alabama.
Well, the same teams as BYU.
And they would have lost that.
Mm-hmm. Most likely, yes.
I mean, Notre Dame lost in that fight, so why do I think Texas Tech would have won in that fight?
Well said.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, when we come back, Arkansas is playing Utah, and they are not happy about the news they just got. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 15th through the 28th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, we're getting kickoff times for college football games in September. Arkansas and Utah are going to play in the fourth TV window, 8:30 kickoff. You know the drill. The Arkansas Athletic Director...
You mean 8:15, but we'll be 8:30.
Yeah, sure. The Arkansas Athletic Director is complaining about his team's late-night start at Utah in September. How much sympathy you got? Christy, none. We're used to it. I think he's just heard how scary Rice Eccles is after dark. David, zip, zero, nada. Ricky, none at all. Play ball.
It's not after dark. That would be then dark is over. It's during dark. You signed up for it knowing that teams at this side of the country have a potential to be in that window.
It's been happening for a long time. Shouldn't be surprised for someone in his role.
Right. And they want good matchups throughout the day, obviously.
Right.
So this is, Arkansas is rebuilding, and Utah isn't. And so Utah, at that point, would not be surprised at all if they're ranked. And plus, there's going to be a curiosity. Utah has a brand name now. I don't think you can deny that they have a brand name. And so people who follow college football are going to be interested. Hey, how's that Utah team doing now that they lost that tough guy coach?
Yep.
There's three things I can count on: death, taxes, and the toughness of Utah, right? Well, the Mr. Tough Guy is in Ann Arbor right now. So how's it going to be? It's early in the season. I'm going to check that out. Just get a feel for what's going on out there. For us, it's a feel for what's going on here, not out there, but I'm talking about people back there, wherever there is. So I can see why they would want the Utes in that time frame. And Arkansas, I don't know why I said Nebraska, but Arkansas, once you agreed to have this home and home, you agreed to the possibility of the game being at that time. Now, do I think it's ridiculous to start games at that time? Yes. But we've all thought that.
But since we got, 15, 20 years of this stuff, don't be surprised.
Right.
And to me, it's the second that thing's announced, it's a coin flip. Are you going to get the 1:30 kickoff on Fox, where Big 12 games routinely go, or are you going to get an 8:15 kickoff on ESPN, where games routinely go? Exactly what you say about the brand name, the SEC. People generally are curious. SEC teams don't travel a lot. Whenever they do, there's a little curiosity factor with that. How good is the SEC? They keep saying they're great.
Well, also how good is Arkansas?
And Arkansas has been at the bottom of the SEC. You know,
I don't think it's about Arkansas. I think it's about Utah.
I would agree.
That's what they're used to. People are not going to tune into that game. Oh, I got to see Arkansas. No, I want to see how the Utes are going to do without a guy who's been there for 20-some years and won multiple conference titles and went to Rose Bowls and beat Alabama and Nick Saban in the Sugar Bowl and on and on and on.
The very next week, Utah State is in that 1:30 kick time. But it's a coin flip deal. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Who else is playing, and what other games are available? It is a box of chocolates. Ironically, the team that has a 1:30 kickoff game that week is BYU. They're playing Arizona.
Well,
conference game.
That's respect right there. And you've got BYU clearly, inarguably, is a national brand. We got to get past this.
And Arizona's coming off a good year with a good quarterback.
And if Arizona had been what they were 2 years ago, then maybe not.
Right. Then it might have been the 8-15 game, maybe.
Right.
But of the four teams, Arkansas is a weak link, and you don't know what kind of competition they're going to provide. So Fox opted for Arizona BYU, figuring you never know if a game's going to be competitive, but you got a better chance. And you got more, it's easier to hype that game up. So they took BYU,
and it's
Arizona.
A conference game.
Conference game, easier to hype up.
Because the Cougs are playing Notre Dame later on. So week 2, a conference game between, on paper, two good teams.
Yeah, who both have their quarterback back.
Right. Yeah. That is something that is more attractive than what Arkansas can offer right now. And that's when you're making these decisions. So decisions are literally made right now. They're made months ahead of time. So I get it. Now it has a chance to be burning hot in Provo that day.
So it's funny you mentioned that because James posts, the Arkansas AD is not thinking this through. Afternoon games in September can be around 100 degrees and no fun for anyone. To which he gets replied, well, they're coming from Arkansas. It'll be cooler to them no matter what. I don't blame him for being mad. The thing is, Gary Crowton always said this, and then he backed it up. It's the dry heat. It kind of freaks teams out. You're breathing, your throat's stuck. He says he brought teams out of humidity, and it's hot, but it's not the same kind of thing. And for all the struggles Crowton had, he had a really good record in non-conference games in September. He beat a bunch of people. Georgia Tech, might beat Syracuse, obviously beat Notre Dame. There are a bunch of teams coming out here who didn't win, didn't play well. And he always thought it was an advantage. Scores backed it up in the limited sample he had. I agree, though. September afternoon games, it doesn't matter if you're in Provo or Salt Lake. They can be burning hot and uncomfortable.
Now, the folks in Tucson are going to bring sweaters.
This is great.
Light jackets.
It's not 110.
I'll take it. Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, it's 96. Wow, this is awesome.
They're going to get some 10 to 15 degree break. They'll take it.
Right. So for them, it's not going to be any big deal. They're used to that. And that's why, although September is
got your dry heat right here. I'll tell you about dry heat.
The U of A and Devils play September day games at home. You can't. It's just so freaking hot. And even in October.
Even October, it can be pretty brutal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Utes went down there in first week of November a few years back, and people were complaining. It was an afternoon game. When the Cougars went down, once you get past Thanksgiving, then you're okay. In fact, then you think, this is awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's why millions of people live there. December, January, February, spectacular.
When Utah State played New Mexico State in the bowl game in Tucson, I went down to help out Scotty, and I remember getting there, walking in the booth, and he looks at me and he says, why'd you ever move from here?
Come back in July.
Because it was post-Christmas, and it was like 75, 80 degrees that day, and it was a day game. And it was, it's spectacular, which is, that's what people talk about. It's like they always talk about, I just was with somebody yesterday who spent a week in Portland, and they told me, and it didn't rain the whole time. Well, that's because it rains a lot, and you tell me it didn't rain the whole time. You're admitting it rains a lot by telling me it didn't rain at all. Like, that's news, which means when it rains, it's not news. And I wouldn't want to live there for that very reason, having spent so much of my life, 2/3 of my life, where the sun shines more often than not in the 3 states that I've lived in, including here. So that's a great selling point for BYU, that the respect you're getting for your program, and it's a great opportunity to showcase the program even more at that point, because obviously that's 3:30 back east, and that's an opportunity to display your program, what you're about. And so if I'm BYU, I'm fired up. And if I'm Arizona, I'm fired up too, and we'll see what happens that day. But Arkansas signs up for it, and should Arkansas get consideration by the TV people? I'd like to think so, because their AD is right. They're not going to get home until about 6 a.m. But even on this side of the country, so you're getting home at 4 a.m. What the crap is the difference?
You'd like to think you're getting some consideration, but you're not, and there's years of it, and you know this better than anybody following ASU. The Arizona and Arizona State people would always give quotes for whoever called them about a story about what it was like to go to Washington or Washington State. That's a longer flight than Salt Lake to Arkansas. And there are all those stories coming out about them getting back to campus as the sun is rising.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely lost night. It's a lost day. Yeah.
But they all sold their souls for television.
That's what the money's for.
And so once you sell your soul to television, you've lost the right to complain, even though you want to complain.
Nobody
I guess
here.
for Arkansas, this is a newness. They're not used to this.
Arkansas fans, if they're stunned by this and they're complaining, fine. It's not their job. But for the AD, it's your job, and you know how the TV windows work. And
But I can see why he's complaining, though, because they don't do this. Rich Rod used to complain about it all the time. Every time.
Yep.
He would do it.
He hated it.
Yeah,
he hated it.
And nobody likes it. I've spoken to both
Utah and BYU people will both tell you this sleep disruption.
The athletic department.
Yeah, right.
You're done. Sunday, you are done. You might as well not even have Sunday because you're not doing anything. It's a wasted day.
You don't. If you're awake, you don't feel right, and you don't sleep well if you're asleep. I mean, the whole thing's messed up.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever traveled like that, you know what it's like.
Yeah. Unless
you're right,
have some bizarre
calendar
that you live by.
Getting home at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or 6 a.m., it's all messed up. The next day's a wreck.
The most, I don't know what would be, the glaring example is that I covered BYU. It was either Michigan or Michigan State. I can't remember. And Utah is playing, I think, Oregon. So up in Eugene, and it's a late night start, right? And so I'm at the Detroit airport, and I got early flight. It's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm texting with some Utah coaches who hadn't gone to bed yet to get info on their game. How did it go?
So you've already gone to bed, gotten up, and gotten to the airport. Yes. And yet they haven't gone to bed. They're still on their Saturday. You're already on your Sunday, but you're both wide awake because it's so jacked up.
Yes. And I think it was the game where they creamed them.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
And
went up there
and one of the guys, that was the week where
somebody told you that was going to happen, and then it did, and they hung 60 on her. Like, you weren't kidding, dude.
Yeah, that was the time you could be out on the practice field and sort of mingle afterward. And I'm talking to one of the guys, and he says, "Oh man, we got this." And I said, like, yeah. You know, I thought I was a little shuck and jiving. He stops dead in his tracks, looks at me, and I like to think one of the good things that I do, and there are not many, is if people tell me something and I look in their eyes and they really believe it, I'm going to believe it. And I could still recall, he stopped in his tracks, he looked at me, and he said, "No, we've got this." And the way he said it is like, okay, coach. I believe you. And then they went out and he kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And they had been watching film that whole week and blah, 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 probably in the summer.
And they knew. Yeah, they knew. And they were right.
And they said that. And I remember his eyes when he said it and he stopped and he looked at me and I think, ooh, man. If I would have, I don't gamble. But that was a little insider trading right there.
That was, it was. But that was an era where
you
Oregon...
need one of these prediction markets to be around at that point.
That was an era where Oregon and USC, the Utes hadn't caught them yet. They were closing, but they hadn't caught them yet. And they were still taking some heat for it. So it was super satisfying to get over that hump. And then, subsequently, there's big games against both of those schools. And they were well over the hump at that point. But it was stunning at that point. It was a little surprising that they'd win, and it was stunning that they'd win easily.
Did you ever get scared by eyes? Because when what they called that suspenders boy.
That was exactly where I was going to go, and no one's been more scared by eyes than suspenders boy.
Me and Jake Scott were right there. You can go look at the video, and you can see us. We happen to be standing right there.
Yeah.
Coincidentally or whatever, and I can remember Bronco looking to his left with those eyes, and I thought, he's going to kill him.
Go celebrate.
The eyes that Bronco had at that moment, and that kid just Wicked Witch of the West and melted.
Just go celebrate with your team, man. Just leave them alone. They're actually losing teams. You got to give it to them for all the work and effort they put in, and for the coaches who get fired and all that. They're really good at just walking off the field.
Yeah.
And letting the chaos and the chaotic celebration go on. Just let them.
Right, but this guy persisted and got way too close.
He did not let them.
To Bronco. Bronco took that step to his left.
You telling me about that before I see the video, and then I see the video, and then I see the social media calling you out for lying.
Yeah. Like I made it up.
Well, And then we posted or reposted a video or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, no. The video came out very shortly after he started getting called out.
Yeah, and then everything.
Yeah, I tweeted it out because I was standing right there. Yeah. I saw it live.
Well, and then the suspenders boy looked like he had something dribbling down his leg when Bronco took that step.
And that's not completely unjustified.
Oh, yeah,
Bronco played college football.
Well, the thing is, you're right.
And not everyone stands next to Bronco. Like, Bronco's not a small human being.
Correct. Coaches typically are very good about just getting off the field. Yep. Bronco decided, I'm breaking decorum tonight.
Well, the guy pushed it.
He did. He came and got over.
Getting closer.
Correct, yes.
The physical distance was too close for comfort.
Stop.
And Bronco takes that step, and that guy...
and I'm gone.
The rivalry. That's a moment in the rivalry.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many.
Yeah.
I just saw a list on social media. Someone put it out there. They had all the rivalries across the country, and it was number 10 in the rivalries across the country. And one in front of it was not getting played now. It's USC Notre Dame. Was like 6 or 7 or something.
This rivalry has been long since underappreciated because people don't get out here. If you'd been out here, we've all been out here. We've been to the games, and we understand the intensity of the games, and they are something to behold.
DJ PK coming up. Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBAtv contributor. What does he think the Jazz are going to do with that number 2 pick? What would he do with that number 2 pick? And does he think the Knicks have a chance against the Thunder or the Spurs? We'll talk with him about all of that coming up next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
The Jazz selecting number 2 in the upcoming NBA draft. So, if there's one thing that scares me, AJ's the safer pick. And that's what makes me nervous is that Washington is going to be like, okay, we've really swung and missed, and we've really done some problems. So let's go the safest superstar available in AJ and let somebody else take the risk on Darren. If I'm the Jazz, then I take that risk on Darren Peterson. But I exhaust every option available to me to get AJ.
I encourage everybody to go back and you do watch pre-Kansas film on Darren Peterson. I want you to watch his handle, specifically how he navigates ball screens. He can become a better passer, but he's not bad as a secondary playmaker. You just look at him, it's his frame. To me, there are real reasons why this guy can be great.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. They make it super simple. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with coverage options tailored to your choices. Plus, you'll see which discounts you may qualify for, like the online quote discount or savings for paying in full. In fact, 99% of Progressive Auto customers earn at least one discount. See if you could save when you switch to Progressive. You'll feel good about making a savvy choice. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little extra cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
DJ, PK, Springsteen, and Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBAtv contributor. Brian, good morning.
Good morning. It song makes me melancholy, guys. Like longing for the days where you could put your kid on your lap and let him steer the car without getting pulled over and arrested for endangering a minor.
Oh, man. What happened to those days?
Where'd they go, right?
I know. So Dad wanted to put me on a lap.
My dad did that with me.
Mom's yelling, it's not safe.
And plus,
if I had done that with my kid, I would have done 5 to 10.
And if you were like mine, both parents with the windows up smoking.
There you go, right?
Have some secondhand smoke, kid.
That's funny. Let's do it, boys.
There are multiple stories going here in Utah. Let's start with the Jazz and the number 2 pick in the draft. What would you do if you were running the Jazz, and what do you think the Jazz will do? And if you want to start with what the Wizards are going to do, then maybe you need to start there. But unpack it for us. What are you expecting? And we'll give you a little bit of a pass, knowing full well there could be new info in the next couple of weeks and all this could change. But what are you thinking now?
Listen, I think it's going to be pretty simple for the Jazz. If the Wizards take DeBonsa, take Darren Peterson. If the Wizards take Darren Peterson, take A.J. DeBonsa. And it's that simple. Listen, I love Caleb Wilson. I think he's going to be an excellent player in the NBA. I just would never want to be the team president or the GM that passed on either DeBonsa or Peterson. So if you have one of them there to grab, you got to grab one of them. I think sometimes we can look at the top of a draft and overcomplicate things. This is not really something that's overcomplicated. For all the hand-wringing over Darren Peterson, he still averaged 20 points a game in 19 games, playing for Kansas on a top-level schedule. And even with the cramping issues and some of it being his agent, kind of forgetting the fact that Kansas paid him a lot of money to be there and worry about your NBA career, even with all of those things, once he signs an NBA contract and hits the NBA, the kid has been acting like a pro and handling himself like a pro from early stages of high school. So I wouldn't be terribly worried about him. And I think for the Jazz, this is a simple decision. Whatever the Wizards do, take the other guy.
A couple things there that, they can have an opportunity to trade. But to me, there's 4 guys of the Jazz right now that I wouldn't consider trading. It's the 2 big guys, Markkanen Jackson, Keontae George, and Ace Bailey. Do you view them as something that the Jazz, if they really, really wanted DeBonsa, because if they really want him, they can get him. But I don't want him at the price of having to move any of those 4.
I would agree with that. Listen, I would tell you this. If somebody made you a Godfather deal for Markkanen at that salary, you'd have to listen to it. The problem is no one's making a Godfather deal for Markkanen at that salary. Those salaries in excess of $50 million, and we've talked about that, guys, are hard to move no matter how good the player is. And listen, one of the reasons the Jazz got Jaren Jackson Jr. for what I think was a discounted price for the player that he is because of how hard those higher salaries are to move. So, would I give Ace Bailey to move up from 2 to 1? The answer is absolutely not. I mean, Keontae George, would I consider it? Maybe, but I don't think the Wizards are doing that. So I just listen. If I'm the Wizards, I'm not trading out of this number 1 pick. This is a draft where the Wizards spent a whole lot of time. The Jazz too, by the way. The Pacers. We can keep going with all the teams. They spent months doing everything they could to be bad to get this pick. The Wizards got it. Where are you trading it? What are you doing with it? I mean, yeah, again, you can get a Godfather offer to go from 1 to 2 and look at it, but I don't know on any planet if that makes sense for the Jazz. Both of these teams are likely to get players that are going to be transcendent types of players for their organizations. Lean into your luck. Take the guy that's available for you to take there. And again, I say this, guys, I love Caleb Wilson. I would take him ahead of Cam Boozer. I know there's some consideration for Cam Boozer at the Jazz too that I've heard, and I love Cam Boozer. I think he's a very good NBA player. I just think that's kind of absurd because the other 3 guys are athletically superior to him, and I think you have to make sure you're taking especially when the skill and ability are also there. I think you have to take the best athlete that you can get your hands on. And to me, again, I look at Bonsa and Peterson and Caleb Wilson as significantly better athletes than Cam Boozer.
And for the people who are listening to this and they're freaking out thinking, man, I just don't trust Peterson to play. In this era, he's going to be like Embiid. He's going to be playing 40 games a year and taking himself out. And you don't have any fear of that? You think that whatever happened in Kansas was kind of weird and it was a year of college basketball and it didn't look great, but it doesn't say anything going forward about his availability and his talent?
I don't think, availability-wise, he had a cramping problem. They're saying it was related to creatine. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. But it was enough of an issue that his camp felt the need to address it in pre-draft stuff. And I think that element is important because there's a degree of accountability behind it. And don't get me wrong, Darren Peterson wants to be the number 1 pick. They're going to say whatever they have to say to get there. But they didn't want to ignore it. They wanted to make sure that they addressed it. And I think what's important to understand is that the public view of Darren Peterson has only been what they've seen at Kansas. What he did in high school, what he did in the AAU circuit, he was never that guy. And listen, I have a unique perspective on Darren Peterson because my radio partner, Sam Mitchell, coached him for 3 summers in AAU and knows Darren and Darren's family very well. Darren's a serious basketball player. Darren's serious about being out on the floor, and some of this was maybe getting missteered by an agent a little bit, but I think his family's kind of on board with the fact that that was not the right approach. And I think they look at it this way, is that approach may cost him something. It may have cost him the number 1 overall pick, which I think means a lot to him. So my point is this. If you get Peterson at 2, my opinion, knowing what I know about Darren Peterson, is you're going to get a really highly skilled, motivated young player with a chip on his shoulder to prove that his detractors are dead wrong. So I think if Bonsa goes 1, you take Peterson 2, and you don't think twice. It's not a pick you should be holding your nose while you're making. You bring this kid in and you let him do what he does because I think he's going to be a very, very special NBA player.
Okay, then you just said something to me that is really profound and is causing me to just eliminate the thinking that I might have had negatively about Darren Peterson, because I got to satellite radio. I listen to your show. I know Coach Mitchell calls you Geltz and all that stuff, and I can go back and forth. And to me, this guy is a walking encyclopedia of basketball as a player and a coach. And now, obviously, he's doing it in media stuff. And at that point, if I'm Ryan Smith, Danny Ainge, Austin Ainge, I just make one phone call. There's a lawyer out here. One phone call. That's all he uses as an advertising campaign. And I make it to Sam Mitchell. And if you're telling me, Geltz, that Sam Mitchell signs off on Darren Peterson, I'm not sure I need any more proof that he's the guy to take if he's available if Sam Mitchell is signing off on him.
Listen, Sam knows him better than anybody. He really does. And listen, when they were choosing where to go to college, Sam was involved in that process too. And there was at times, and I'm not going to, name names in this, but there was times that I know Sam had conversations with coaches that didn't necessarily match his energy for Darren. And Sam's opinion was that if you're not matching the enthusiasm that I have for this kid, after I've coached this kid for 3 summers, maybe you shouldn't get him. Maybe you shouldn't go there. And Sam passed that along to Darren's dad and Darren's family and let them know, listen, this team may not be they may tell you they're hot on you, but they're not as hot on you as you think. Sam has an incredible amount of faith in Darren Peterson. I will also say this, guys, and I think it's very, very important to note this as while we're talking about Sam. Sam's the same guy that picked the Knicks to win the NBA championship, and he picked the Knicks Spurs in his final. And I find that very interesting. He also picked Minnesota upset Denver in the first round. So Sam's kind of on his game these days. So when Sam's telling me all these things about Darren Peterson, listen, we have plenty of guests from the college basketball world that have different opinions about Darren Peterson on our show. Sam will bet to whoever we're talking to, whether it's Fran Fraschilla, Jay Billis, Sam will back Darren in every way. He has, an unwavering belief in not only who the kid is, but who the kid can be.
Does Sam still think the Thunder and the Spurs is going to go to the Spurs?
He does. I do too, by the way. Guys, I do too. I think the Spurs what's happened in Game 5 is going to end up being a little bit of fool's gold for the Thunder, and follow my logic here. I mean, guys, in all the years of watching basketball, and you guys been around a while, have you ever seen, forget about a player, a team that flopped more than Oklahoma City flopped in Game 5? I mean, guys, I've taken heat in the NBA media world because I'm generally pro-flop, because I believe it's a part of gamesmanship, and it's the responsibility of the referees to sniff that stuff out. That was too much for me. Every time somebody shoots the ball, they're falling on the ground. And the refs fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. What did Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have, 33 points on 7 made field goals? Yeah. Are you kidding me? It was a parade to the free throw line. And on the other end, Isaiah Hartenstein, and I give him credit, he's been the second most important player for the Thunder in this series. He's beating the crap out of Victor Wembanyama. And so I think there was the officiating. I'm not blaming the loss there because Oklahoma City played very well. And Jared McCain has been an enormously important player for them in this series in the absence of Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell. With all that said, when there's going to be a light here shined on the officiating, and I think we're done with blowouts in this series. I think it's going to be close games the rest of the way, and you're going to get a close game. That could tip the scales towards San Antonio, because here's the other thing with San Antonio. What's happening to Wembanyama off the ball, the referees are a little too focused on what's happening on the ball, and I think that's an adjustment San Antonio has to make. You're hearing a lot of people talking about Wembanyama getting more touches deeper in the paint. I actually think where he gets the touches aren't even as important. He just has to have the ball, and part of that, and I would use him in inverted pick and rolls as an initiator on the wing on offense, put it in his hands and let a smaller guy, I mean, everybody's a smaller guy when it comes to Wembanyama, but let a guard screen for him and let him work that way and make Hartenstein guard him in space a little bit. What's going to happen? The physicality of Hartenstein is going to be noticed by the officials more. And here's the thing. It's so important for San Antonio. If they can get Isaiah Hartenstein in foul trouble and get him off the floor, Wembanyama then becomes unguardable for OKC. So I think you have a lot of light shined on how Game 5 was officiated, and I think as you go into Game 6, that's a massive, massive advantage for the San Antonio Spurs, because the even, listen, there's a missed goaltend, and then the next play, the ball goes out of Chet Holmgren's foot. The referee ignores Mitch Johnson, who certainly made the challenge signal in enough time, and maybe we have to have NBA coaches throwing red flags like we have NFL coaches, because the fact is you got to be able to go back and look at it on video and stop that game and say that man asked for a challenge before play started. And so that was another big problem. But again, all these officiating issues that have had a massive light shined on them and a spotlight put on them here in the off day, those are going to play a role. The officials in tonight's game are not going to want to get trashed like Tony Brothers' crew got trashed after what happened in Game 5. And I think that's going to be massive, massive for the San Antonio Spurs and more involvement for Victor Wembanyama. The other thing is this for the Spurs. The guards have to be more patient. De'Aaron Fox especially. De'Aaron Fox has played very poorly in this series, and there's a direct correlation to Wembanyama's lack of touches and De'Aaron Fox being on the floor. He's going to have to play through Wembanyama a heck of a lot more. And the other thing is Castle's got to be more patient. If you don't get it to Wembanyama on the first look, you got to go back for a second and a third and a fourth in a possession. You can't just default to threes off the dribble. So that San Antonio's got some changes to make, but if you hear everything I'm saying, it's all pretty simple for them outside of the officiating. On the defensive end of the floor, listen, go back to your Game 4 formula. Let Shea get his. If you have to switch everything and Shea gets his, fine, let him get his. But you can't have Alex Caruso getting 20 and Jared McCain getting 21. Those guys have to be guarded much better, and San Antonio's deep enough on the defensive end of the floor that those guys shouldn't be hard to shut down.
I'm excited that the Knicks are in the finals. I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to go back in the memory bank. 1973. I'm living in Parsippany, New Jersey. I'm best buddies with the mayor's son. The mayor was a guy named Henry Luther. His son, Michael, who later became mayor of Parsippany. Henry has, well, I was his best friend. So Mayor Luther has tickets to the Knicks and the Lakers in the NBA Finals, and they invite me. And my father, who grew up in East Orange and loved basketball, was just as jealous as could possibly be because they didn't have an extra ticket for him. And his dorky son gets to go to the Garden. And I remember sitting there in 1973 and looking at, you're telling me that's Walt Frazier right there, that's Jerry West right there, Willis Reed is over here, and Wilt Chamberlain's over there. I was in heaven. And I remember the area, the New York, New Jersey, all that, and even into Connecticut, although I don't consider Connecticut much, but that's just me. The point is that, man, the town, the city, the area, the region was just electric, and I remember it to this day, and I can only imagine what it's going to be now with the Knicks being there. Tell us how it is as far as the whole area, the region, with the Knicks in the finals this year.
Here's what I'm going to say about the New York metropolitan area, okay? What you have, PK, here is a situation where when the Knicks are great like this, not good, great like this, the Knicks are the biggest thing there is. Bigger than the Giants, bigger than the Rangers, bigger than the Yankees. I'm going to say it again, bigger than the Yankees. It's the biggest thing going in this area. And so much of it with the Knicks is based upon the kind of nostalgia that you just talked about. Now, listen, my father was a Hall of Fame college basketball player at New York Rutgers from 1945 to 1950. When my father, he was also a college basketball snob, which made him not a big NBA fan. And he ended up being an enormous New York Rangers fan and a season ticket holder for many years. As I grew up, I had the basketball thing in my blood, and I loved the NBA from a young age. And listen, I checked my Knick fandom at the door years ago when I started covering the league because I just felt that was a necessary discipline for me to be as objective as possible.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, listen, my father was a Knick fan because I was a Knick fan as a kid. I have a son that's a big Knick fan. But I can remember sitting there, and I had a scorebook where I would sit and write the Knicks starting five, the other team's starting five, and I would literally keep the book sitting in front of the TV with my father. And I can remember the starting lineup, you know, Tom McMillan, Jim McMillan, Bob McAdoo, Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson. Those were the teams that I sat and followed as a kid and shared that with my old man. Now, my old man's been gone for, you know, it's almost 9 years now. But I can only imagine his appreciation of what this would have been and how much he would enjoy this kind of team. Because here's what I'm going to say about the New York Knicks. It's not only what they're achieving and what they're accomplishing, it's how they're doing it. This is, and I'm careful when I make these comparisons, but this is a lot like those, the 70 team and the 73 team in the terms of the fact, the sweet spot of where unselfishness meets discipline. When the Knicks are so unselfish, they don't care who scores whatever baskets. It doesn't matter to them right now. This is truly that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole type of thing. They're doing it all together. But it's also a discipline where when they find a weakness in you, they are going to continue to pick and gnaw at that weakness until it just broke you, until you bleed out. That's how they, and that's discipline. That's a team that understands we got to keep going to something until they stop it, and they don't get away from it. And it's really, it's a tribute to Mike Brown and his coaching staff, and they've done a super, super job of kind of growing with this group, understanding what's been needed. I give Chris Gent a ton of credit as one of his lead assistants. Rick Brunson has done a great job in assisting his son to adjust on the fly, and Jalen's become a better player for it. Listen, everybody forgets about Jalen Brunson, guys. He made his bones as an off-ball player in this league playing next to Luka Doncic. He's an excellent off-ball player, and outside of Steph Curry, moves off the ball better than any guard in the NBA. Taking him off the ball more. Look how little he brings the ball up for the Knicks. Running the offense through Towns, who promised Chris Jensen and Mike Brown that everybody would see the ball if you run it through me, and everybody is seeing the ball. But Rick Brunson's gotten his son to buy into not having the ball in his hands as much. And when you're an alpha like Jalen Brunson and that's how you think, that's a hard adjustment. He's made it almost seamlessly. So the Knicks have everything together right now, and I will tell you this, as great as these two West teams are that we're seeing compete in this Western Conference Final have been, it would be very naive to believe that the Knicks right now, with rest, momentum, chemistry, and depth, that do not sleep on these Knicks in the finals, especially when you're going to get a compromised version of either OKC or San Antonio in the final because of injuries, because of guys being beaten up, because of what this series takes out of both teams. The Knicks are a very, very viable championship contender right now with a very good chance to go and beat one of these teams in an NBA final.
I think their secret superpower is that Brunson didn't go out and leverage $50 million the way so many stars do. He's on $35 million. That depth you talk about, $15 million gets you Josh Hart or, I don't know, a collection of guys. I don't know which guys they'd be missing if he went out, but there's only one. There's Bridges. Yeah, you're right. Bridges. Good point. There's 3 teams left in the playoffs, and Cat is the only player making over $40 million, and that, I think, has been a factor in building out these teams.
No doubt about it. Listen, let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns for a minute, because Jalen Brunson gets all the glory as the leader. Without Towns' individual sacrifice, and we can go through it. Okay, Karl Towns doesn't shoot the ball a lot for a guy that's one of the best shooting big men in the NBA. Okay, he's averaged 6 assists a game in the playoffs. He has been the best defensive rebounder on any team in the playoffs, and that includes Victor Wembanyama. He was the second best defensive rebounder this season in the NBA behind Nikola Jokic. And his defense has gone from being poor to literally being very good. When they funnel things to the paint, Towns has become an excellent paint defender. He has changed his game to fit what this team has needed, and his buy-in has been more meaningful than anybody's. Here's another thing that I think is really, really important, and you see people question this, and this happen all the time. Mikal Bridges was terrible in Games 2 and Games 3 of the Atlanta series, to a point that a big narrative in New York is, do you not start Bridges and put Landry Shamet or Miles McBride in the starting lineup? Mike Brown wouldn't even think of it. He put Bridges right back in the starting lineup with the thought, if Bridges can't get it going and is struggling and is not in a great place mentally, I can always go to somebody else. But not starting the guy means that I lose the guy. Think about what would have happened with Bridges and where he would have been, because he is a little fragile mentally and emotionally, if they had not started him and decided to abandon that. Mike Brown's faith in him when he was playing at his worst has actually gotten him in a very fast trajectory to be playing at his best. And that's the kind of thing when you have faith in your guys. And listen, we saw Kenny Atkinson ran away from Dean Wade in Game 4 of the Knicks series, and I don't necessarily blame him, but, you know, when you start to kind of dump guys and lose faith in guys, they lose faith in themselves. Mike Brown stood by Bridges, and by the way, in the same way that Tom Thibodeau did when he had struggles the year before. It's just become commonplace with the Knicks culture. Here's one other thing, and I know that it's been some convenient for some Knicks fans to say, hey, this would not have happened if Tibbs were here. I don't necessarily believe that, and I do think the one guy that is not getting enough credit for the Knicks being where they are is the guy that brought them to this point up till this year, which is Tom Thibodeau, who a culture that the Knicks have as second nature right now in terms of how they guard and how they play for one another. That's something that Tom Thibodeau instilled in this roster, this organization, and this franchise over the 5 years that he was there.
Geltz, we got to leave it right there. Thanks for your time. As always, we love talking basketball, talking draft, and talking playoffs with you.
Always my pleasure, guys. Let's do it again soon. You guys take care.
He's Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBAtv contributor. More in a moment. Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer at 9:05. We will talk a spring football tour and Bearcat football with him. Stay with us.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery. Picking second. As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick, nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tim Dolly Mazda, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive in Sandy. So you're buying airline tickets right now for Austin Ainge, Danny Ainge, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Deep dive into the background.
I think Sam Mitchell is an extremely credible NBA analyst, NBA person, NBA lifer.
You've heard his show. You've heard his takes. You obviously have known his name for a long time. And now, 3 years with DP.
I did not know that.
I did not either.
I've talked to Sam Mitchell.
All right.
If that means anything.
I have not.
I have. But I think he's got credibility. And if he's coaching the young man, he knows the family, and he's advising the young man where to go to college. That means the family trusts Sam. Mm-hmm. They've got a relationship there. Sam is at the top of my list. And if I'm Jay-Z and the Ainges, I don't know where Sam lives, Midwest somewhere. I go to his house, and I say, Sam, I need about 3 hours. And I go there. It was sit on the back porch.
On his turf.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go eat? Let's talk.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you don't come to us. I come to you. So I'm not inconveniencing you. But I value what you have to say extremely.
No Mo Green territory here. You know stuff I need to know.
Yeah. And he has a certain bias, but he also understands the position he's going to be in, and he's not going to say stuff that is going to mislead you. He's going to tell you as it is, as he sees it.
I don't worry about the bias at all because everybody they're talking to about these players is going to have that kind of bias.
Yeah.
Everything we hear about these guys, super likable. These are people who've been pulling for him, working with him forever. They're largely going to want him to succeed. If anything, you have to do a little digging to find the people like, okay, who's had some run-ins with these people? Who has something negative to say? Who does it? Because most people are probably in their corner.
Yeah,
not automatically,
to me,
but a lot.
Top two guys now are Sam Mitchell and Bill Self. And
there's a long history of college coaches not telling the truth.
But I don't see where.
But everyone's got their bias, and you just got to.
Bill has no reason to lie.
But that's why you talk to a lot of people, and you cross-reference stuff, and what keeps popping up.
Bill Self has no agenda. He can't benefit from this. If he never coaches a game again, and he's had some health issues, he's already at the top. So he can express himself.
It's not going to matter
freely.
a lot to the Kansas program whether Peterson goes 1 or 2.
Yeah.
How much NIL Kansas has will have more of an impact on the Kansas program going forward.
And so to have Sam Mitchell, an NBA guy, player, coach, offer what he thinks of Darren Peterson, that's powerful.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer, joins us next. Stay with us.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, we always talk about the new rules in college football and NIL and the transfer portal and who benefits and who loses. Obviously, schools like Texas Tech benefiting, BYU benefiting. The SEC seems to be losing 2-8 in the playoffs over the last 3 years. They were winning at a much better clip until the last 3 years. Cincinnati's got to go in. Did they go in the losing camp, or did they lose because the rules change, or did they lose because they lost their coach? Because both things happen pretty close together here. And they had a coach who had it rolling, but he got hired away.
Don't ask me. No, ask somebody who knows better.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer, joins us now for the spring football tour. Scott, good morning.
Howdy, I'm in the Florida Keys on special assignment, but
nice.
Happy to talk football. Yeah, 100 days from today, I think, is kickoff.
You win. Let's talk about the Florida Keys. Who cares about Bearcat football? I'm way more interested in the Florida Keys.
Which key you in? Where you are right now?
We are Islamorada. Just left. I'm heading back to Fort Lauderdale. Fly out of there, but been down here about 5 days and went down past Marathon Key yesterday. I've been to Key West before, but didn't go on this trip. But that's kind of a long haul.
Yeah, it is.
I grew up in San Diego, and growing up near the beach was great. It was a 30-minute drive. But now that I've seen other water, it's like very disappointing water off San Diego. It's cold and murky, warm and clear. Yeah. Let's try that.
No, this weather's been every day 85 and low of 80 with a sea breeze, and you can't beat it. So, and I love San Diego too. That's a little cooler than what this has been. But back home when I left, it was 60 and spitting rain and ugly, and so I'll take it.
Yeah. Curious about the state of the Cincinnati program. Did they take a big hit because they lost the coach, or did they take a big hit because everything went to the world of NIL and transfer, and when you're in the shadow of the Bengals and Ohio State, you're probably not going to have as much money. The big money is going to flock to those two. What has really hampered Cincinnati the last couple of years?
Well, it's a lot better league than the league they were in, the American. And when they with Luke Fickell and that bunch, when they made it to the college football playoff, they were in the American. Well, you're playing, East Carolina and Tulsa, and not that those teams are bad at all. That you can get some really good players there, but it's not the same as day in, day out playing Big 12 football. And then your other point, you said, you're in Cincinnati is a pro town. Houston has that to an extent. So you have a lot of people competing for the entertainment dollar. And you mentioned Ohio State. That's a different animal there. They are the pro team in Columbus, other than the hockey team. But at Cincinnati, you got Reds and Bengals. You do have a soccer team and two universities. Xavier is close by and pretty good basketball team there. And so a lot of things going on. Like even with baseball, the baseball team is pretty decent. They're in the NCAA tournament, and they play in Starkville tomorrow. But in Cincinnati, you have the Reds, and so it's tough for the baseball team to grasp hold as good as they are. So different set of problems, but overall the programs have done okay. I think with football, it's just tough to get beyond 7 wins and if you have a good player, let's be honest, someone's stealing him. Someone's gonna poach your players, and that's just the way it goes.
And that leads us right into Sorsby taking off, and we know about his issues with Texas Tech. But as far as what Cincinnati's got, they get the quarterback J.C. French. Started, I think, 26 games for Georgia Southern, I should say. Is he going to be the guy, and how good is he?
He's pretty decent. I think he'll be the guy because that's who they spent the money on, and that's usually the way those things work. But he had a good spring. He's the way it was described, I think he might be a little bit more accurate passer than Sorsby. Sorsby tended to take some gambles and every now and then and try to hit a deep ball. Brendan was a great runner. This guy ran pretty well because Scott Satterfield's always going to run his quarterback. Not the same size. Sorsby's a big dude, like 6'3", 235, and French is maybe 6'1", couple hundred. But, Drew Brees was about that size. I think he had a decent career. There's a lot of quarterbacks that aren't necessarily big. So, nice kid, seems well-rounded. And then behind him is Samaj Jones, a guy that played some in the bowl game in Memphis. And he runs very, very well. Actually has a great arm. It's just he has to control it a little bit. But, as far as putting a pass somewhere quickly, he's very good at that. So, you have a lot of different people on the offense. That you have some returning offensive linemen, which is the good news. Not as many as they did last year, but 3 starters back and 2 guys that played quite a bit. And the way they like to run the ball, that's going to help them out. So I think offensively they made some improvements, but, you know, we're in this era where every year you got to figure out who's on your team, and about halfway through the year you might find a favorite, and then you got to figure out a way to keep them.
We see a lot of times that the best players get held out of spring games or final spring scrimmages, as they tend to do these days. And so sometimes the guys who star in that aren't really the stars. They're the people that are willing to risk getting hurt. J.V. Gibson had 3 touchdowns in that final scrimmage. Is he the guy, or were they holding the guy out?
Yeah. They didn't really hold any receivers out. They had a couple defensive linemen that didn't play. More on the defensive side, guys that didn't play. But Gibson looks like the real deal to me. He reminds me some different build, but Cyrus Allen, for instance, was a Louisiana Tech guy and then played 1 season at Texas A&M. Didn't necessarily get as many throws. I think he had 18, 19 receptions, and he comes to Cincinnati and catches over 50 balls and had 13 touchdowns, set a single-season school record, and then he gets drafted by the Chiefs in the 5th round. So this kid, he's got good wheels, good size, bigger, 6'2", 211, went up and got a lot of balls. I like him a lot. I think they've improved every year on the receivers. It's just so odd, you know. You're used to one group of receivers, and then you know, like last year we had Caldwell from Lindenwood, who caught on as a free agent with the Chiefs, and then Cyrus Allen. The only new receiver, or old receiver, I should say, Isaiah Johnson, is like the only returning one. Elijah Jones, I'm thinking off the top of my head here, but yeah, they pretty much went out and got new receivers and pretty much all new running backs, and you're going to have a new tight end because Joe Royer is with the Browns now, so a kid, Gavin Grover, stepping up. I think he'll be good. Good size, 6'6", 250. Offensively, I saw some good things. It's just, you know, when you're playing against yourself, you just don't know. You don't know what you have until, you know, October, and, you know, then you have to fight it out there. But, you know, because you guys know these preseason predictions, every Big 12 poll I've seen every year is pretty off base. They're not accurate, you know, and because you don't know. You don't have anything to base it on.
Talk about the new guys. Let's go into the coaching. Scott Satterfield did not retain or parted ways with both coordinators. Explain what was going on there and what do you expect out of the new folk?
Nate Woody is a guy who has coached with him and is the defensive coordinator now. Tyson Veit ran 3-3-5, 3-man front, trying to do kind of what Iowa State had done because that was his background. Just didn't work. You know, the Big 12 offenses were too sophisticated, and if you're only rushing 3, it's, you know, they can piece you apart. And he, really nice guy. He turned around and got a job at Penn State with Matt Campbell, who he had coached with before. So he's a linebackers coach now. But Nate Woody was some guy that was at Army, and then he had coached with Satterfield at a couple other places. And I think they're going to be a little more aggressive, rushing the passer, causing havoc, which is the key word that they want to throw out there. And they got some bigger defensive backs. You know, you do need size on, you know, 6'3" guys now. You got a 5'8" guy covering a 6'3" receiver. You're probably losing that battle. And so they've got some size there in the portal, a couple guys. And yeah, I think defensively, they did lose Jake Golday, because he was one of the guys that they picked out of nowhere out of Central Arkansas, and he came and was pretty good. And that's the one thing I can say about Cincinnati and the personnel staff is they have done a great job of finding guys, diamonds in the rough that nobody knew anything about, and they turned out to be good players. So they've had a lot of good luck in taking guys that maybe weren't necessarily the 4 or 5 stars, and those kids have had decent careers. It's just, like we said also, you have to watch that. It's like either they fall in love with you or you're going to lose them to somebody else. that's going to pay him a ridiculous amount of money. And Brendan, great kid. I know nothing of his gambling issues other than what Cincinnati has told me and all. But $5 million, you give a 21-year-old kid $5 million, that's just scary, and I don't care who it is. $5 million to me at 21, hard to say where I'd be, what country I'd be in, or anything.
Would you be alive?
Maybe I'd be down here in the Keys hanging out.
Yeah, right. You hear those coaching moves for coaches in the fourth year, and it could be desperation. It could be something tactically really smart. Just on the surface, it looks like the program's headed up from 3 wins to 5 wins to 7 wins. In conference, it's 1 win to 3 win to 5 wins, bowl eligible the third year. It looks like the progress is tangible and the arrow is up. Is that what it looks like when you're closer to it? And how much patience is there with Satterfield?
I think they have exactly what you said. I think they looked at it that way. Because if you looked at it just from November, you're going, oh, no, this is not working. Because they've not, 1 win in November. That was 2 years ago. And 23 was the last win in November at Houston. But, the previous year, you're 5-2, just knock off Arizona, who turned out to be pretty good. And then you don't win. And then this past year, 7-1 coming into Salt Lake City, and big game there, and that's tough for anyone. But they couldn't get it back after that. They had Arizona and then BYU. The back end of the schedule was really tough. TCU in Fort Worth. None of those are picnics. It's just the way it worked out. You lost them all, and I'm sure that was a factor in what Brendan Sorsby did, other than the $5 million. But what I've told people too, and don't get me wrong on Brendan, really like him. I hope something good happens to him out of all this stuff. But I've told people, I said, hey, you know what? He's won just as many games in November as you and I did, and that's 0. Because he, good quarterback, no wins in November. Some of that has to fall on him, right?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, makes sense. We'll see if the new guy makes a difference there. He's got a lot of experience, so I guess that they just go, and it's the way of the world. You lose one, and you go get another from somebody else. And Georgia Southern, I don't know what they did. They probably got somebody else from some other place, and then we lace them up and kick them off in the fall.
Right. It's just dominoes, the food chain, and that's kind of the way it is. And you're lucky if you have the same guy back. You're doing all right. So, they got two seasons out of Sorsby. I know basketball-wise, if you get a kid, I think we had recently a kid that went, Day Thomas was there 3 years, which is an eternity anymore. But, yeah, I don't get it. I know I'm old and cranky and all that, but, you bring a guy in and you give him a plaque after 5 months, and then he's off to somewhere else. But, the games that people still watch, that's the bottom line.
I know, yeah,
people
that's
will watch
so true.
on TV. Yeah. You're going to watch them. People complain about the bowl games, and the bowl games still get watched. And here's where the NCAA is a bit hypocritical. And I'm no gambler. I do not gamble. I've been to Vegas 3 times, haven't laid one bet down because I have no idea what I'm doing. And but why do people watch these bowl games? Because they get bet on. And that's why the ratings are huge. And then if you're going to take, gambling money and have a relationship with them, then I don't know. I'm not defending Brendan Sorsby because you can't bet on your own team, and that makes no sense. But I don't know. From what I know, with these gambling apps, I can tell you, kids have them. High school kids have them. Now, there's probably little things that says, are you 21? You hit yes or whatever. But they're a thing, and you can do a lot. And I don't do it myself, but they better be keeping an eye on all that stuff, because that's just not good.
Is Cincinnati going to be better at the line of scrimmage? I see 13 against the run. And when you talk about it's hard to get past 7 wins, it's hard to get past 7 wins if anybody who's good at running can run all over you. And when you're 13th in the league, giving up almost 180 yards a game, it seems like you're kind of doomed there.
Yeah. Well, I think that some of that also was, you again, rushing with a 3-man front. There were times I'm sitting in the press box and I'm going, well, look at that gaping hole there. And sure enough, they hand the ball to a guy and he plows into the end zone. And it's like, well, this isn't rocket science there. Did anyone not see that, the Red Sea parted there? And so that's part of it. I think they're going to clean that up. They a couple defensive linemen they got out of the portal they like, but they're small school guys, so I can't tell you how well they're going to be. Like one guy came from North Carolina Central, which is an HBCU, but he looks to be pretty good. And there's another guy that actually started his career as a running back at Syracuse. Huff is his name, and he put some pounds on. He's on the defensive line now, but he still has the quick twitch and the ability to move pretty good. So he's somebody to watch on the D line also. And he was at a small school in Pennsylvania that they picked him out of. So right now, like I said, they have to find guys and turn them into something and hope that they stay. That's kind of the way it is. Every now and then you get a pretty good player. The area, the Cincinnati football is pretty good, the high school football, because, Big Ten is always in there. SEC is always in there taking kids out. And, you can go to the north, you're in the Big Ten with the Buckeyes. To the south, you've got Kentucky gets a lot of kids, and they sell the SEC. When SEC and Big Ten, they've got more money. And then Louisville down the road, they do a decent job, and they're ACC. So, very, very well, I don't want to rule out Indiana. I can get to Indiana in 30 minutes, at least the state line. I never in a million years thought Indiana would win a football title. If I bet, I surely would have lost that.
That's for sure.
Well, it's good you didn't waste that money there. You can spend it on traveling to the Florida Keys. That is money well spent.
That's what we do. We come down and look for iguanas and things like that. Saw some sea lions and critters and all that, some parrots, and I just passed a guy that's on a motor scooter and wearing flip-flops. That's the way of life for some of these people. So, yep.
Well, Scott, enjoy the rest of your trip. Thanks for taking a few minutes out for us and talking a little Bearcat football. We appreciate it.
All right, sure thing.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer. You really can't underestimate how nice it is for people to pick up the phone and come on the radio with us. Florida Keys, and you want to talk Cincinnati football? That was very nice of him.
It sure was.
Yeah. It's like, I'll talk to you next week. Like, get back to Cincinnati and make that call.
Well, yeah, I got connections there with the Enquirer. The columnist, the news columnist, was my former editor at the Casa Grande Dispatch.
No way.
I kid you not.
Wow. Look at you go. You pulled strings. You made that happen. Yak, you leaned on PK's Casa Grande connections.
Well, yeah, sure. We'll go with that. I texted Scott and said, hey, can you come on tomorrow and talk Bearcat football? Sure. What time?
And actually, I was at the Casa Grande Dispatch for 1 year, and he was the city editor. And I learned more in that 1 year that I may have learned in 10 years.
Yeah.
The guy was really good, and he was a really good mentor.
Knew his stuff,
yes,
and
just
willing to share.
Yeah, and the way the business works and what you need to do to make it. Yeah, absolutely. And I several years later, I actually emailed him to thank him. He was blown away. He had no idea it was coming. But I just remember, man, he taught me so much.
DJ PK, we'll take a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show, we'll get you all the headlines, all the big stories, all the interviews. It's next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Morgan Scalley, head coach at the University of Utah.
The hiring of Kevin McGivern, very, very innovative. When I've watched his teams, man, he loves to fling that thing around. Are you looking to open the offense a little bit?
I want to be explosive no matter where that comes from. If we're an explosive offense, but we're not physical, to me, that's the detriment to the entire team. You have to be physical, period, end of story, because a lack of physicality gets exposed at the highest levels. The priority, the premium is on physicality, and then explosive football, obviously explosive plays that can be from running the ball, from catching the ball. I think we have one of the best wide receiver groups we've had since I've been here. We want to get our playmakers the ball, but you have to play complementary football, and that's what Kevin's offense does.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
For just joining us, we talked NBA draft at 8:30 with Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host, NBA TV contributor, one of our favorites. He thinks that all the talk about trading up, trading down, trading out, trading whatever, overthinking it. Sit at number 2, wait to find out who the Wizards take at number 1, and take the other guy.
If only it were that easy.
Easy for him to say. He won't bear the consequences.
Or the fruit.
That too.
That's in its simplest form. And
ultimately, do you think that's what will happen?
Yeah.
They can't just sit back and say, he can say it and then go on with his life. They can't. They got to work on this and obsess about this every hour of every day from now until the draft. But when they get to the draft, do you think that's what they'll do based on everything they've learned while working all these hours and obsessing all these days?
Today, yes. 2 weeks from now, it could change.
Agreed. We get new info, we'll have a new opinion. But with the info we have now, it seems like that's how it'll play out.
Yeah. But I don't think that it's a guarantee. A guarantee is literally 100%. It can't be anything less. It's not a half guarantee. There's no such thing.
You're talking what's more likely is the probability here.
So I can't guarantee that those two would go 1-2. Who's to say that it happens that way? There have been surprises.
That'd be a very big surprise to me.
I don't know that it would be.
Really?
You're getting a Cam Boozer is you got Let's Make a Deal, which is still running these days. And I got a pretty good thing at door number 1. But what kind of gamble am I willing to take? What's behind door number 2? It might be I have a beautiful Jeep. Well, okay, but there might be something better. And there's something better there, but it's behind door number 2 or 3. And I choose 3, and it's a scooter. So, but Cam Boozer is a really good Jeep. And he'll drive. And he'll get you where you want to go. You may not get there as fast,
really,
and it may
Jeep.
not be as scintillating a ride, but Cam Boozer will get you there.
So Boozer's a Jeep.
Yeah.
And then what is Darren Peterson?
A Lamborghini, whatever.
I wasn't going car analogies. That's a whole different thing. I just think Boozer's a rock. You just know what he's going to be.
Yeah, so why do you you don't just blow that off?
Because in this draft, I think people feel like they need to hit a home run. And to go baseball, it doesn't.
It might be a home run. If he's a 20-10 guy, that's not a home run. What team, what GM would not take a lock on a 20-10 guy for 10 years?
Boozer's a 2-run double in the left center gap. And 2-run doubles are good, but people like 3-run homers and they like grand slams.
Right, but I make it a strikeout.
100%. And to me, if Boozer goes 2, and for that matter, if Caleb does, because I'm with you on the whole probability guarantee. I wouldn't guarantee 1-2. There's still a chance that whatever that was at Kansas last year with Peterson, that when people dig into it, they get red flags and make them uncomfortable. And if the Wizards find those red flags and if the Jazz find those red flags, either they trade down and let somebody else make the mistake who doesn't find the red flag, or Peterson slides.
And you take Boozer.
And then the whole Boozer-Wilson thing comes into play. And Boozer has been projected in front of Wilson and may well be the guy. I don't think you're going to miss with Boozer. I think he's going to be a really good pro. But is he going to be all-NBA first team? I'd be surprised by that. I don't think he has elite NBA athletic ability, and most of the guys who get there have that. But he's really good.
Oh, did Letter Carrier have it?
Very good. He was, in the sense that he was bigger, stronger. He was faster than most of the big guys, and bigger than most of the big guys.
Was he faster, or was he willing to be faster?
An excellent question. Probably depends on the guy. He was willing to pick him up and put him down and get down the court, and it was amazing to watch.
Right.
To see a big guy, that big change ends, are very few people.
Could I argue, just in raw ability, Derek Coleman had more than Malone?
Well, yeah, because you picked one of the great underachievers in NBA history.
But a high pick?
He was a high pick because he had the talent and he was an underachiever. Yeah, and Carl would outwork him and intimidate him all day long, to the point that Coleman, after saying something super derogatory, stopped showing up for games, and Jazz fans were laughing about it. It was like common knowledge. I don't know if there was somebody in the lower bowl who didn't know. Hey, I bet Coleman's not going to play tonight. He didn't want the 60-whatever Carl will drop on him when he shows up. Yeah, so there was that. But Carl was skilled too. He added the game at the free throw line.
But skilled isn't athleticism.
Agreed.
No doubt. You don't end up being the career he had without being skilled.
And Boozer's skill, I think, is undeniable, and it's why he's 3. It's not for any of the decathlon testing, hey, give me range, give me vertical jump, give me whatever. But, he'll go left, he'll go right. He'll throw you off with a little bit of a head fake, a little bit of a shoulder fake. Honestly, he reminds me so much of his dad. I mean, the parallels, and maybe you get him with other athletes, and I don't know that I saw him that up close. Seems like Ken Griffey Jr. had way more talent than Ken Griffey Sr., but Ken Griffey Sr. was a pretty good ball player.
Well, one was a Hall of Famer, one wasn't.
Right.
So,
yeah, one was a pretty good ball player and one was a Hall of Famer. So, but everything like Boozer could do, like Carlos was undersized. I don't think Cam's as undersized, but the game's also gotten bigger.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as undersized now, basically, at that level where he's playing.
Yeah, Carlos wasn't asked to step out and shoot the 3. It was a different era. Yeah. It was a different mindset.
Right.
But I have a fair amount of confidence in Boozer's ability to, and I know the NBA line's further and all that, but...
So that's what I'm saying. You're talking into what I'm saying. But that it's not a guarantee.
It is not a guarantee, but I think it mostly comes to Peterson fall. Because I think the ceiling with Peterson is people think he can be the best player on a championship team and he can be an MVP. There's really nothing that guy can't do if everything goes right. It's just, do people trust it to go right? I don't think anyone projecting Boozer as first-team All-NBA.
I don't think that. I think there's more to it than that. I don't think that you're making Darren Peterson sound like if you clear up the muscle spasm issues,
he could be
legitimate.
Superman.
I don't know that. I don't think that's a guaranteed lock.
It's not a guaranteed lock. But that's his ceiling, and I think the fact that
it is. You're just making it up.
I don't think I'm making it up. I think plenty of people believe that.
And they're making it up.
That may be, yes. I'm reading into what other people are supposing, and no one can guarantee it. But I think enough people have put that out there in theory, in supposition that...
And these are the same people who thought, I can go back to see who they are, and I guarantee you, if not... most of them, if they're in the position to be a GM and make a pick, they've made bonehead picks.
Yes. And furthermore, as good as this draft is, pick whatever other good draft and show me where the top 4 have all panned out and reached their ceiling. It doesn't happen. Someone's going to underachieve.
Right.
Something's going to go wrong. There'll be undiscovered red flag. Whatever it is, somebody's going to bust. And right now, everybody in... Washington, Utah, Memphis, and Chicago is scrambling to make sure that they don't pick that bust.
I think they're researching. Scrambling seems sort of panicky.
You hear stories from people afterwards. They try to keep a brave face in public. But there is that certain amount of dread. Please let him be able to play.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, exactly. Because careers and
hang in the balance.
Fortunes of franchise and
you're asking
bank accounts.
You're asking to predict what some 18, 19-year-old is going to do against the elite in the game a decade from now.
And you're passing Boozer to do good luck.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want good luck.
But Boozer's not going number one. And I think he's got the highest floor is the way people always say it. Like, you're really going to
I know. But they get into these stupid phrases.
Yeah, I know.
But those become gospel. Whether they're gospel or not, we won't know until 2030 at the earliest.
At the earliest, yeah. And in 2035, we could still be talking about it.
Later then.
By 2040, it'll all be written. Okay, fine.
So I won't care.
All right. So anyway, we're getting into all of that you heard Geltzeiler talk about Sam Mitchell spend 3 years with Peterson. He's got strong opinions, and Geltzeiler was pumping him up. Like, he had the Knicks to win the East, and it's happened. He had the Spurs and the Thunder in the Western Finals, and it's happened. He's got the Spurs over the Thunder, which could still happen. They're down 3-2. And he's got the Knicks winning it all. And he's got Peterson is the man. And you're saying,
if the Knicks win it all, then I do exactly as Sam says.
That's what that pick.
And the timeline works.
Okay.
Because we'll crown an NBA winner before the draft.
You get a champion, and then a few days later we'll have a draft.
Yes. So at that point, I'm Austin. I say, hey, if this doesn't work, don't blame me. Blame Sam. Because he's Nostra Mitchell over here.
Nostra Mitchell. All right. Game 6 tonight. The Thunder. They don't exactly have the rep for stepping on people and stepping on their throat.
Well, I think they were too
cliche.
young to have that rep.
Okay. They could have gone up 3-1, and they were kind of a no-show in Game 4. They were up 20 and could have blown it wide open and didn't, and kind of had to power through the finish line, which they did to win Game 5. A year ago, they had a couple of Game 6s to close out. They didn't get it done.
They were too young last year.
So this year they will.
I don't know. They're missing two rotational guys, and we're just glossing over it.
Jalen Williams sitting in street clothes over there.
Yeah. And
I heard some speculation he might play, but it doesn't make sense to me that he play in Game 6. You know, if there's anything iffy about it, give him 2 more days to get healthy for Game 7.
Well,
and if you win
if you're healthy to go, you go. If not, you don't.
What if it's a gray area? Maybe you can push through it. I don't think you can push through a hamstring.
That's where the medical people and the individual, they come to a conclusion. I'm push through it. If you can go, you go. If you can push through it, then you go. I don't want somebody out there being a detriment. It gets in the way.
6:30 tonight, NBC. Big game. You want to talk about the bipartisan bill that's been introduced in the U.S. Senate?
Hell yeah.
To put guardrails on college sports?
Yeah.
Limiting transfers to 1 time without penalty, 5 years of eligibility, no pro athletes coming back to play in college. No more recruiting the G League there, college basketball coaches.
Well, some of those are common sense. I shouldn't have a politician do it. You should do it yourself.
Prohibiting schools from poaching a coach from another school during their sports season.
The Lane Kiffin rule.
I mean,
salary cap?
What is your season? Most of the time, these things are messy. So all of a sudden, by putting the Lane Kiffin rule, then nothing is going to be messy anymore?
I don't believe that.
Okay, you can't leave, but I can fire you after 2 games.
And the agent can be over there talking. I didn't leave, but the agent's over there talking. You're fully distracted.
Well, yeah, but I think the idea is leaving. You have to stick it out through your season. That's already been going on, and it'll never not go on. You're not going to eliminate that problem because, well, wait, you can't leave unless I force you out? Oh, wait a second here. No.
I'll make you fire me.
Yeah, that's a symptom of the game that stinks, but I think you're going to have to deal with it. And it doesn't happen that many times. And the guy stays and coaches until the end of the season. That's all well and good, but yeah. I just read the guy who's at Florida was staying. He stayed and was trying to do both, and he said it sucked on both ends.
Yeah, I saw that quote. Yeah. It was the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing.
Right.
He said it was a bleep show.
Especially if you're moving across the country. BYU went through that when Bronco left, and you had all those assistants that were moving from Provo to Virginia.
Yeah. And then they got off to a bad start in the bowl game.
Yeah, they turned it over 10 times.
In retrospect, that should have been obvious.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball negotiations also starting their collective bargaining agreement. We'll see what happens to the 2027 season. When they get that done, then they can proceed with expansion. See if we get a team here. And coming up next, everything you missed in this show. We got that recap, so we'll get your feedback next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? The Arkansas athletic director complaining about his team's late night start at Utah in September. How much sympathy do you have? Margaret, spoiled SEC teams, no sympathy. Been dealing with way worse for years.
Decades even.
Margaret's having none of it.
Wake up, Maggie.
Aaron, cry me a river, buddy. This ain't tiddlywinks. Put your big boy pants on, and we'll see you on the field.
Yeah, and we'll kick your butt on the field. We'll drag you up and down.
Kirk, play in the afternoon and see a record broken for a number of players cramping up. Laughing, crying emoji.
It's not in the afternoon anymore.
That's old school right there. Joe, zero sympathy, and here's why. Big noon game started at noon EST, 10 a.m. Mountain. I haven't heard RAD complain about having to get up before dawn and play so early. Bottom line, don't schedule Western teams if you don't want to play later in the day.
Not in the afternoon anymore.
No, it's not.
Lloyd said zero. Embrace the darkness. Nice, Lloyd.
That's good.
Yeah. Yak, what are you having there? Let's hear it.
So this one's more on the NBA draft side of things. I think it comes off the conversation you guys had with Brian Geltzeiler. It comes in from Kaysen on our open mic on the KSL Sports app.
Should we consider Darren Peterson a possible Dante Exum problem? I keep hearing you guys talk about him compared to Kobe Bryant. I'm more worried that he's going to turn out to be a Dante Exum and constantly off court.
Well, that's the fear. I mean, you can absolutely worry about it and research it. I think that's the thing that they have to dig to the bottom of. See what Bill Self tells them. See what the strength and conditioning staff at Kansas tells them. See what Sam Mitchell tells them.
Okay,
see
then
what
it isn't
on
as
down the
simply
line.
as just taking the other guy.
And at the end, is that what they'll do?
Only after
after a month of background research.
Hours upon hours of research and investigation. And if it comes to that conclusion, which I have no doubt that it is, that if it comes to that,
doubt what is?
The research and investigation and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're going into a deep dive on all this stuff.
Yes. So
with access to people the rest
fear.
of us aren't going to get.
Right. No question. Yeah. And
sometimes that access can
do everything.
Sometimes that access can mess you up.
Well, Ian Majerus used to talk about what's that phrase? Paralysis by analysis. Is that it? Or analysis by
Can't see the
paralysis?
forest for the trees.
Yeah. So
the story that Karl Malone fell to the Jazz because his college coach was mad he was leaving a year early, said a bunch of negative stuff about him to the team that was going to draft him.
He wanted him to get his English degree.
And the Jazz were beyond that, so they didn't hear that stuff. They just saw him dropping, so they got him. That was nice, though. Thanks. See what you did there.
I looked at Yak for validation.
Did you get it?
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
What have he not did that?
No, get it right, Doc.
I was having some fun taking liberty with it.
Oh, yeah, you can mix and match. You don't want to stay stagnant.
Anonymous Big 12 coach says BYU is the best team in the conference with the best coaches and the most physical team. What's your assessment of this? And Eric says, I think Coach McGuire is dropping off-season rat poison to drum up his team to victory this upcoming season. A little rat poison, that'll never grow old.
Yeah, I don't think that it's the other way around, though. If you want motivation, BYU needs it against Tech because they destroyed you both games.
Domination.
Yeah.
The sports psychic says, well, they weren't the best team twice against Texas Tech. They need to prove it on the field.
Well, that's the only place you can prove it conclusively. And then even at that, you'll have James Harden say, no, we got swept, but we were the better team.
Sammy says, like most things, there's elements of truth there. BYU is very physical. They are the best team that has yet to win the Big 12. We have yet to see what Utah will look like under Morgan as well. The Arizona schools and Tech will argue against this. I'm sure I'm missing one or two more teams.
Well, BYU compared to Utah, they both have the same winning percentage, but BYU has one more loss in winning the Big 12. They're 0 for 3.
Utah's 0 for 2.
Yeah. But there's still time to go 2 for 5.
All right.
That's not bad.
That would be good.
I would take, if the Devils won the title 4 times in 10 years, I'd take it.
Puns Blazing says, this is exactly the kind of quote I would say anonymously if I was a coach somewhere like Texas Tech or Arizona or Utah. And then I would tell my players often that somebody said it. Nice. Very manipulative. Bravo. Bravo, Puns Blazing.
Yeah, but I think if you're looking for motivation like revenge, the only place it's going to work is Utah.
BD311 says, that was very nice of Coach Scally to say that. We both assumed it was Texas Tech.
Yeah, because I think Utah's lying low right now.
Mm-hmm.
I called up a thing I saved it. ESPN had their ranking. They ranked all, was it 138 teams or something?
Uh-huh.
And
like 7th or something?
I want to say 8th.
8th, okay.
I think the Devils were 7th.
8th is the lowest I've seen them. There was that, and Wilner had them pretty far down, didn't he?
The Hammer?
The Hammer.
Well, he loves the Cougars.
Utah anywhere between 3 and 8. As people put out their way too early polls. We'll see how they adjust it in August.
8 is just so low. I don't see that.
8 suggests 5 and 4. That's what when I hear 8, that's what I think.
I'd be surprised.
DJ PK, we're out of time. Coming up next, Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe. I'm sitting in for Scotty G for an hour. Jake, you sitting in too?
Yeah, I'm doing the last 2 hours, and our good friend Alex Napolis over here is doing an hour as well.
It takes 3 of us to do the work of one Scotty G. Next, right here on The Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.